now the official partner series to the BSB. This is Cool Fab Racing.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to round 6 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championship, the official partner series to the Bennett's British Superbike Championship, and on the road to MotoGP. We have got some fantastic action from the third and final set of races from the third last round of 2018, live from Glanigors in North Wales. We've got plenty of highlights from this morning's action. If you weren't able to catch up, you can catch up on the Cool Fab Racing websites and on motorsport.radio. But this is some of the action we had this morning from the AC40 rookies. Great racing from Samuel Munson and also Henry McCartney going through turn number 1. Very flat, you can see it's overcast if you're tuned in to our visual radio stream on social media. Of course, we are live also on audio all around the interwebs, and very close run between two of our riders in that race. Just 1,000th of a second was all it was that covered them at the end of the session. And this was the last race that we had this afternoon. In fact, just before we went to lunch, very, very wet in the senior mini motos. This the battle for third place, and they were side by side for third place, but goodness, look at that, they caught the curb, clattered into each other. Will Howarth and also Ryan Grant involved in that. They then both picked up the bikes, walked over the line, and then sort of slipped over, because you could see how slippery it was, although much less slippery at the start of the third and final set of races from today for the Junior LC40 Elites, which will see Casey O'Gorman starting on pole position. Bailey Stewart-Campbell will line up alongside him, with Mason Foster, Ryan Hitchcock, Josh Bannister and Evan Belford lining up in the top 6. Sullivan Mousey and Emmanuel Brinton 7th and 8th. James Cook and Joe Farragher 9th and 10th. Luca Hopkins will line up in 11th ahead of Troy Jeffrey, Clayton Edmonds and Harrison McKay on row 7. Row 8 is Jamie Woodcock. Now the marshals just getting all the riders ready, waiting for the race starts in just a moment. I'm Dan Marr, alongside me Kiko Giles, who'll be taking you through the action this afternoon at round 6. 9 laps in prospect as the Junior LC40 Elite race is about to get underway. The riders look towards the start line marshals. We're starting with a green flag, not red lights. The flag is up, the flag is down. A decent start by Casey O'Gorman, enough to put himself into the lead going into turn 1 for the first time out of 9. But side by side it is between himself and Mason Foster up towards turns 2 and 3. Two right-handers. Turn 3 a very tight right-hander, and it's not quite the lead for Mason Foster, but Casey O'Gorman stays into the lead. In fact, Mason Foster lost a whole host of places, potentially running out onto the grass. Got plenty of time to make some time up, but already in these early stages they don't want to lose too much time. Casey O'Gorman using his machine to get a couple of machine lengths ahead, but it is Kiko Giles, a battle for second place at the moment.
Casey O'Gorman leading at the moment, but Evan Belford, keep your eyes on him. Won earlier on today in horrendously wet conditions, and they're not too dissimilar now. So just because Casey O'Gorman is streaking off at the front, do not discount anyone else, but as they come through, it is O'Gorman ahead of Bailey Stewart-Campbell. Think that may well be in third place. Ryan Hitchcock will get confirmation, then it's Evan Belford. Yes, it is. Then 5th place is Sullivan Mounty. Traditional fast start from Sullivan Mounty from 7th up to 5th. 6th place Mason Foster. Josh Bannister is in 7th place. 8th Emmanuel Brinton. 9th for Clayton Edmonds. Troy Jeffrey completing the top 10 with Joe Farragher, Luca Hopkins, Harrison McKay and Jamie Woodcock behind all them. But out front it is Casey O'Gorman ahead of Bailey Stewart-Campbell. It is the story of this championship so far. Evan Belford down at the carousel, makes a move there. Tight left-hander through on the inside. That's up to 3rd place for Evan Belford, looking to get to first where he was earlier on come the checkered flag in race 2.
Evan Belford, some fantastic racing earlier on this morning and yesterday's races. If you didn't happen to tune in, head over to the Cool Fab Racing website and on motorsport.radio, where you can catch up on all the audio as a podcast. But meanwhile, in race 3, Casey O'Gorman, 7/10 of a second was the gap over the line for the first time. It's now 1.078 as someone goes very wide on the exit of turn number 1. Can't quite see who, but that eliminates one from the battle at turn 1. They continue on in the race, just running very slowly.
Whoever that was deserves a medal just for saving that. He was right up against the tyres. How on earth he saved that, we are not sure who that was, although Evan Belford has dropped behind out of the leading group. So Evan Belford has just shown his motocross skills in great fashion there. Fantastic stuff.
And Bailey Stewart-Campbell still in second place, fighting with Ryan Hitchcock and Sullivan Mounsley with the fastest lap on that last one, a 54.751. A couple of tenths quicker than those ahead of him, and had some great racing earlier has Sullivan, the number 44, enjoying the slightly treacherous conditions we've been gifted at Glanigors this weekend. And Sullivan Mounsley has been given actually a 3-second penalty for jumping the start, so maybe enjoyed the conditions too much, wanted to get away a bit early, but 3-second jump start penalty, not good for Sullivan, although has got plenty of time in this race to make that distance up. But Bailey Stewart-Campbell still second, Ryan Hitchcock, Sullivan Mounsley, and now Mason Foster with the fastest lap of 54.5. That is 2 or 3 tenths faster than those in front, which in a category where the junior LC40 Elites, very small mini bikes, only running 40cc engine but liquid cooled. They are quite potent, but they're very important to keep the momentum through the corners and keep up with the slipstream going on around you as well.
It makes turn 1 very, very important, and on the last lap it's going to make the last turn very, very important. If you can make a move down the inside of someone and block them off, then you'll more than likely win the race. But if you just get a good run on its own, you might be able to do something a bit special anyway. As they go up the straight, Mason Foster trying to get past Sullivan Mounsley. Sullivan Mounsley with the fastest lap of the race, a 54.484. Unbelievable consistency from the leading 5. 44.8 for O'Gorman, 54.8 for O'Gorman, 54.6 for Bailey Stewart-Campbell, Ryan Hitchcock as well. Sullivan Mounsley on the 54.4, 54.6 for Mason Foster. The top 5 are lapping very, very quickly, and all of them quicker than Casey O'Gorman, your race leader. So the gap will come down.
It is already coming down, now only 8 tenths of a second, closing in just slightly again on this lap. 4 laps completed, we're on lap 5 out of 9, so around the half distance mark already, and very soon be 5 for the race lead. Now number 7, Casey O'Gorman into the final corner, only got a couple of machine length is the gap between himself and the battling 4. Up the inside goes Mason Foster into turn number 1, can't quite pull it off after getting a good run out of the final corner. Nonetheless, Sullivan Mounsley still fighting in 4th place, Ryan Hitchcock 3rd, and Bailey Stewart-Campbell now with the new fastest lap in 2nd place.
The lap times, there is no difference between them at all. 1.6 seconds covers the leading 5 at the moment, and I can tell you Casey O'Gorman has been caught here. We have seen this before. Casey O'Gorman normally gets caught towards the end of races, but he's been caught way, way, way before the end of this race, and I think we're going to see a scrap now. O'Gorman leading Bailey Stewart-Campbell. Ryan Hitchcock's not out of it. Sullivan Mounsley isn't out of it, but he has got that 3-second time penalty to contend with for jumping the start. And 5th place Mason Foster. Behind all that, Josh Bannister's having a great ride, but a lonely ride in 6th place. He is doing a grand job there. On to the start and finish straight then. Another lap down, 3 to go, and O'Gorman puts the gauntlet down to originally set the fast lap, but again that's gone down to Sullivan Mounsley again. 53.701. Everyone but O'Gorman and Ryan Hitchcock in the 54.3s that time around in the leading group.
All starting to close in at the top of the order. Emmanuel Brinton in 8th place, also enjoying a very good battle with Clayton Edmonds so far. They make their way down towards turn number 2. Clayton Edmonds and Joe Farrier getting involved 8th and 9th and 10th place, all as they go into Spoon Corner, but our race leaders at the moment, Casey O'Gorman 3 tenths of a second ahead of Bailey Stewart-Campbell on the last lap. It is not that now, they are nose to tail through Devil's Elbow, a very tight sequence of right and left handers, and into the final corner to start the second last lap. This is when the battle for the lead gets serious.
Sullivan Mounsley going up the inside of Ryan Hitchcock and makes it work, so Sullivan Mounsley into 3rd place on the track. Of course he is still 5th on time difference because of that 3-second penalty, but the front 2 have just broken away. Casey O'Gorman and Bailey Stewart-Campbell have started to stretch the group now. It is them 2 out front, and then it is a 1.4 second gap back into the gap of the battle of Sullivan Mounsley, Ryan Hitchcock and Mason Foster. Evan Belford, who ran on earlier, is back up to 7th place, and he is closing in on Josh Bannister, but I don't think he's going to get there in time.
Quite a large gap to overcome. Could be done though with a lap and a half left to go, but Casey O'Gorman nearing the end of the second last lap, the Final lap board already being prepared, and it's side by side almost for the race lead. Casey O'Gorman comes over the line. Bailey Stewart-Campbell trying to follow them into turn number 1. Can't quite make the move, but this is where it's crucial. Gets a decent exit. Does our second place person, number 99, Bailey Stewart-Campbell, looking to ride his left-hand side. Is he going to make the move into turns 2 and 3? He's almost on top of him, but can't quite make it, going into Spoon for the final time.
O'Gorman had a moment there in the back half of that circuit, in the middle of Devil's Elbow. Now, that will be crucial, because if it's the last lap, which it is now, and he has the exact same moment, you can guarantee that Bailey Stewart-Campbell will try and move at the last corner. We're coming through the last half of this race, of this class's action for this weekend. At the moment, Casey O'Gorman has got it, but I wouldn't want to bet on him keeping it. Bailey Stewart-Campbell is building through these yeses now. We have only got 3 or 4 corners left. They are coming through. O'Gorman at the moment has got this. Bailey Stewart-Campbell's pushing hard. There's a little bit of a moment that may have cost him. They're coming to the line. Casey O'Gorman is going to take the win, and he does. Bailey Stewart-Campbell second. Sullivan Mounsey is third on the road, but will be 5th overall. Ryan Hitchcock takes the podium. A splendid run of form for Hitchcock. Mason Foster is 4th. Josh Bannister is coming home for 6th, but a battle for 7th. At the moment, I think it may well be Emmanuel Brinton who's got that ahead of Evan Belford. It's a 4-man scrap. It is Emmanuel Brinton, and coming through on the inside was Clayton Edmonds. Gets Evan Belford. Belford must have a problem with his bike. Emmanuel Brinton takes it. Emmanuel Brinton takes it. Clayton Edmonds is in 8th place. 9th for Evan Belford, and Joe Farragher completes the top 10. Luca Hopkins will be 11th. 12th for Troy Jeffrey. 13th Harrison McKay, and Jamie Woodcock will complete the field. 14th for him. What a thrilling end to that race, all the way down the field, strewn with fantastic battles. And that is the end of the Junior LC40 Elite action this weekend, and my goodness has it been elite.
Great battles from the Junior LC40 Elite, as we come to expect here at Cool Fab Racing. Race 3 highlights then, over the line in the middle of that Junior LC40 Elite race. Through turn 1, such a difficult one to overcome. Many people challenging as hard as they can down the back straight, side by side for our riders. Such a quick run there, but the checkered flag went out for Casey O'Gorman, our winner, the 3rd and final race of the Junior LC40 Elite of the weekend, ahead of Bailey Stewart-Campbell and Ryan Hitchcock, after Sullivan Mounsey got that 3-second penalty for jumping the start. A big shame there for Sullivan, but these things happen. Don't let your head drop. Make sure you come back fighting to Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire in 3 weekends' time. If you're local to the area, please do come along. It's free to spectate at the Cool Fab races. We'd love to have you trackside. And thank you very much for joining us on social media, on the Cool Fab Racing website, and on motorsport.radio. Live coverage of round 6 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships, live from GYG. The AC40 rookies then take their turn to head onto the circuit for their 3rd and final race of the weekend. An 8-lap race in Prospect. Samuel Munson will start on pole position, with Ollie Horner in 2nd place. Henry McCartney is in 3rd, ahead of Archie Gibbs, with Ollie Sims and Ruben Bray rounding out the 3rd row of the grid. Row 4 will be Finn and Werrity and Charlie Huntingford, ahead of Blake Wilson, Warwick Brady, William Harris, Elliot Jones, Jacob Stevenson and Max Werrity. 2 fantastic races so far this weekend. Kiko, the 3rd one, always adds that extra element of spice to proceedings.
This is going to be fun. The track is drying, the wind is blowing. That's going to be drying the track even more. We are going to have a great race here. It is still overcast. There is still a threat of rain in the local area, but that is not going to dampen the spirits of this race. If anything, it will only whet our appetite for it. The final race of the AC40 rookies.
They'll be getting underway in just a few moments' time. The marshals ensuring that everyone is in their correct grid slot. 8 laps Then we get ready for the race start. The racers feeling very nervous aboard their machines before any race, especially race 3, when you know it's the end of the weekend. Just want to go and have a bit of fun, get a really good result to put yourself on a high before the next race meeting. And as the marshals moving away from the sides of the track, get ready to go racing. Green flag goes up, and then it drops very quickly indeed. The front row both getting a good start. Ollie Horner into the lead by turn number 1 already. Samuel Munson, 3 okay starts, but down into second place so far, side by side as they make their way up towards turns 2 and 3 for the first time. Samuel Munson on Ryder's right hand side, the blue bike of Ollie Horner on Ryder's left, and just about loses out. So Samuel Munson leads going into Spoon for the first time out of 8, and already creating a bit of a gap. Henry McCartney and Archie Gibbs also making decent enough starts there in what is really going to become the battle for the top 4. 5th, 6th, 7th also holding on, and everyone through cleanly the first couple of corners.
Samuel Munson leads this race then. Good start from Ollie Horner. Obviously practiced them somewhat in between this morning's race. It was a difficult one for him this morning, but he's given himself a chance in this one, and Ollie Horner right in the mix there, chasing Samuel Munson. In behind there, I think it's Henry McCartney. Then I think that's Ruben Brose into 4th place. Archie Gibbs 5th. And then Ollie Sims in 6th. I'm going to go for that order. Am I right? Yes, I am. Finn and Werity 7th, Charlie Hunt 8th, Blake Wilson 9th, Warwick Brady, William Harris in 10th, Warwick Brady is 11th, Elliot Jones, Max Werity, Jacob Stevenson and Marco Holt are the guys behind. But at the moment it's all battle at the front. Samuel Munson leads, Ollie Horner, Henry McCartney and Ruben Bray. They are your breakaway group of 4.
And really, it's a breakaway group of 3 for second place. Samuel Munson just creating a couple of bike lengths. They're all using these opening laps just to scope out where the grip is, because it has changed relatively significantly since their first race this morning. And Henry McCartney on the attack on Ollie Horner. Ollie Horner, our new championship leader coming into this weekend. Henry McCartney, the number 31, had a great first half of the season, really trying to close up with some more points going into the final corner for the second time on to lap number 3. 6 to go, and it is the top 3 almost becoming the top 4. Munson with the fastest lap, just 3 tenths ahead of Ollie Horner, who's moving to Ryder's right hand side, trying to cut the slipstream of Henry McCartney, stop him from trying to attack coming into the first real big braking zone, turn number 3. And that has worked for him so far. Henry McCartney still in 3rd place. Ruben Bray sitting very comfortably in 4th place, but just needs to sit and wait. But Archie Gibbs has got Ollie Sims and Finn and Werity for company. Charlie Huntingford also within the battle so far.
Samuel Munson leading so far indeed. Let's see if he can keep this up. Of course, this track is evolving. That's another dynamic we've got to contend with. This track is evolving. There are dry lines. It isn't raining at the moment. We must stress that. But Samuel Munson making the most of these conditions at the moment in the hunt for this championship. And now, Down has gone 3rd place. Down has gone 3rd place. Who is that? It's Henry McCartney. So that's huge news for the championship. That was at the penultimate corner. Front end washed out. Henry McCartney then has gone out of this race, and he has let the championship get away from him now with just 6 races of this season to go. He's back up and okay. Ryder is okay, and he needs these crucial points. So Henry McCartney then, an unusual error. The first real one we've seen.
Well, so far, so good for Samuel Munson. However, the new fastest lap, just him and Ollie Horner into the 59s. We've got a yellow flag at the double apexed right-hander to start the final third of the circuit, although the rider does get underway again, so no problem there. But it is Munson, Horner and Bray now into the top 3. Archie Gibbs a couple of seconds behind Ollie Sims in 4th and 5th at the moment. 3 tenths between Gibbs and Sims for 4th place. The race leaders of Munson and Ollie Horner through the final corner they go to really start the halfway stage in this race. They've got a few other riders in this race just to make their way around. That adds one thing for them, but so far the gap extending to half a second for our race leaders. Ruben Bray very comfortable in 3rd.
Half a second, quite a sizable lead in this class, and I think Samuel Munson will be happy with that at the moment, although Ollie Horner, we know he comes good later on in the race. He's right there come the end, uses some brilliant racecraft, some of the best in this class, so Ollie Horner, do not rule him out just yet. But Samuel Munson, fastest lap.
Oh, and down has gone a rider at turn number 4. Sorry to interrupt you there, Kiko. They're back up. Marshall's going over to help them. But just looked like the bike had lost a bit of rear grip as they came out of the spoon curve, which is an effect of this really not very dry circuit at the moment.
Samuel Munson with the fastest lap of the race so far, 59.7, but no one able to do 59 second lap times last time around. We'll see what the times are this time. Samuel Munson leads across the line from Ollie Horner. They are starting just to drop Ruben Bray a little bit now. The lap times this time, no one in the 59s again. And Samuel Munson was a 1/10 of a second quicker than Ollie Horner and Ruben Bray. So has Samuel Munson found something in this race now?
0.6 of a second the gap for the lead then. Also a change for 4th, 5th and 6th. Very close. Archie Gibbs now into 4th place, who's really caught up to Ruben Bray. Starting to Charlie Huntingford into 5th. Ollie Sims down to 6th, but only by virtue of running slightly wide on the exit of the final corner. Finn and Werity also getting involved in that battle for 5th place. Race leaders still coming through the Devil's Elbow section of the circuit. 2 1/3 laps left to go. And so far Samuel Munson just about containing Ollie Horner's pace. They're matching each other, but if Ollie Horner really wants to get past, he's going to have to find an extra couple of tenths per lap, which is definitely easier said than done. 2 laps left to go. Samuel Munson 0.599 ahead of Ollie Horner.
Samuel Munson fractionally ahead of Ollie Horner. The gap is relatively stable around that 1 second mark. 25 thousandths quicker last time around Ollie Horner. That is how metronomic the pace is at the front. It is just relentlessly quick, and maybe explaining why Ruben Bray is now 2.5 seconds back. So it really is between Munson and Ollie Horner now for this win in the last race of their weekend. They are coming out of the carousel now up towards turn 6, and then turn 7 they will turn right, short, straight, if anything is more a curve, through the right, through the left. They flick it from right to left, back over to the right, double apex right, then it's back over to the left. It is an all action end to the circuit, and that is going to make for an exciting final lap. They come round the final corner to start it. Munson and Horner, who's it going to be?
Closing in for the race lead through turn 1 for the final time. This will be crucial for Ollie Horner. Now 0.4 of a second the gap. They're almost side by side as they make their way up towards turns 2 and 3. This is where you've got to sit in a slipstream, try and close in. Spoon curve. Ollie Horner is a little too far back to make a move, but you can really set yourself up for the infield, closing in a couple of machine lengths every braking zone, but that is all he needs to do. Samuel Munson doesn't feel very secure into the carousel for the final time. A very long left-handed hairpin, and this is going to be crucial for Ollie Horner.
This is where Ollie Horner's got an advantage. He can build into the gap that he has got to Samuel Munson, so he isn't tripping up over him and making mistakes. It's a really good tactic, and if he can just get a bit closer now through here. Samuel Munson at the moment riding very, very well. At the moment he's got it. We're through the penultimate corner. I think Samuel Munson has got this. We're on the run down to the final corner and now to the line. Samuel Munson takes race 3 in the AC40 Rookies ahead of Ollie Horner. Ruben Bray a consistent 3rd. 4th place should be Archie Gibbs, but there's a huge battle for 5th. At the moment it's Charlie Huntingford ahead of Ollie Sims. To the line, Archie Gibbs is 4th, and for 5th place Charlie Huntingford just gets it ahead of Ollie Sims and Finn and Werity. Blake Wilson comes home in 8th. 9th place should be Henry McCartney after his little crash. 10th place we are expecting William Harris, although he's run wide and run to the line. William Harris for 10th, yes, just holds off Max Werity and Elliot Jones in 12th. Jacob Stevenson will be 13th, Warwick Brady and Marco Holt 14th and 15th. So what racing here today in the AC40 Rookies. Race 3 was a thriller.
So your highlights for the AC40 Rookies. Samuel Munson took the victory ahead of Ollie Horner. Was it that over the starts they were getting ready, the green flag drops, Ollie Horner gets initially a very good start, but eventually got worked past by Samuel Munson into turn number 1. making their way through later stages of the race. This was when Henry McCartney had his small crash. Did get back on, did continue, which is good, and the win went to Samuel Munson. Ollie Horner is in second place then, and then it was very close, all action packed for Ruben Bray in third. There was a good run to the line for the battle for 5th and 6th. Charlie Huntingford taking 5th ahead of Ollie Sims. Archie Gibb in 4th, but Finn and Werity in 7th ahead of Blake Wilson. Henry McCartney coming home in 9th, and William Harris in 10th. And that is the end of the AC40 Rookies action for this weekend at Gleneagles. They will be back, like everyone else, at Wilton Mill in 3 weekends' time. You're listening. Thank you very much for tuning in to live coverage of round 6 of the 2018 Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championship.
We're now the official partner series to the BSB. This is Cool FAB-Racing.
After a fantastic performance as ever from the AC40 Rookies, you might think, well, it can't get much better than that surely, but it can. The Mini GP50s head out onto circuit for their third and final race of the weekend. 12 laps will be the distance where we see Casey O'Gorman start from pole position ahead of Ryan Hitchcock. Eddie O'Shea and Ollie Walker will be your second row of the grid. James Cook and Thomas Gomez are on row 3, with Mason Johnson and Dylan Mellor row 4. Lucas Brown and Josh Bannister round out the top 10, whilst Emmanuel Brinson and James Rose line up ahead of Harrison Crosby and Alfie Davidson, Kyle Payne and Alessandro Valente, Harrison Desoy and Taylor Stewart Campbell rounding out the 18 strong grid. But they make their way onto the grid, just ready for their race start. Kiko, what's going to be the most important thing to listen out for in this?
Eddie O'Shea. I don't know, I just got this feeling Eddie O'Shea's going to be on the podium somewhere. I'm not making a prediction where, but he likes these mixed conditions, although having said that, they're not that mixed anymore. They're more or less dry unless you go offline. And we are still overcast, we are still under a big black cloud, quite literally, and the rain is never far away, you get the feeling, in North Wales. But let's hope it can stay away until later on when all of these guys are done. Let's get them some dry running. Casey O'Gorman versus Ryan Hitchcock, and then race leaders from earlier on, Eddie O'Shea and Ollie Walker, looking to prove a point. He crashed out earlier, of course, from the lead. Can he do what he should have done and maybe take a win? There's loads of questions and not so many answers. We're going to find them out soon.
Race about to get underway. The marshals moving from the sides of the grid, although quick preparations going on Ollie Walker's bike to make sure it continues to run. We've also got, I think, Harrison Desoy's bike also causing a bit of a problem, but they're just getting it ready and should be underway in just a moment's time. Looking towards race start board, then presented, looking towards the green flag, which will start us off with the 12-lap race, the final one of the weekend for the Mini GP50s. We are underway, and a good start by Casey O'Gorman, a much better start than he's previously made, launches him into the lead of the race ahead of Ryan Hitchcock. Eddie O'Shea remains in third place, but only just a few deliberations going on as they make their way towards turns 2 and 3 for the first time out of 12. Eddie O'Shea having half a look up the inside into Spoon Curve for the first time into second place, but remains in third. Further back, it's all on battle for fourth and fifth. Ollie Walker getting well stuck in. Dylan Mellor also there or thereabouts through the carousel for the first time. Everyone has managed to get through cleanly, which in these conditions can be a bit tricky, but it is starting to really dry out now.
Casey O'Gorman leading Ryan Hitchcock, then Eddie O'Shea. I believe that may well be Thomas Gomez in fourth ahead of Ollie Walker, and we'll get the rest when they come across the line. But yeah, tricky conditions because it is patchy, but he's definitely starting to dry out more. Casey O'Gorman to the line then is ahead of Ryan Hitchcock, Eddie O'Shea, Thomas Gomez, Ollie Walker. Then it's Dylan Mellor, James Cook, Lucas Brown.
We've got a yellow flag. Has someone gone down at the first corner?
The first turn. We do not know who that is. We'll leave that for now. Ride it up and okay. Just annoyed with himself, I would think, more than anything. But crash at turn 1. Yellow flags being waved frantically. Will that bike restart? We're not sure. Doesn't look like it.
Anyway, so
at the moment.
In the race lead, then Casey O'Gorman still just ahead. Eddie O'Shea definitely clears away for second place and just seems to be starting to reel in on Casey O'Gorman as well. So we could have a battle for the lead in just a few moments. Third place, Ryan Hitchcock still having deliberations with Thomas Gomez as they make their way through the Devil's Elbow complex for the second time out of 12. Ollie Walker and Dylan Mellor having a good fight in fifth at the moment into the final corner. Yellow flags waving at turn 1. No overtaking there, which could ruin some people's runs.
James Cook was the rider who crashed out, so James Cook had a wonderful Red Lodge, and it's been a tricky one here. Dad Adam not here, of course, this weekend. He is in Austria with Max Cook. Quality Racing obviously runs in the family, but out front Casey O'Gorman leads Eddie O'Shea, and only by a second. I mean, it was the fastest lap of the race last time around by Casey O'Gorman, but that seems to have come down hugely. Eddie O'Shea has got the bit between his teeth and he's starting to chase after Casey O'Gorman. Who is it going to be out of them two, I wonder?
Well, the battle for the lead is just one battle. 8th and 9th being challenged. Mason Johnson was in 9th, but Emmanuel Brinton making up a good few positions over the last lap, and indeed now is into 9th place, which is just what he needs. Emmanuel needs to score some really good points. So does Eddie O'Shea, the 114, with the fastest lap right on the back of Casey O'Gorman. They're almost side by side as they go into turn 2. 53.0 as opposed to a 53.1. It's the little bits that help in the battle for the lead into Spoon Corner, though not a challenge for the race lead just yet.
Remember when Eddie O'Shea passed Casey O'Gorman last time around? That was at Red Lodge, and Casey made a mistake not long after. We're going to be interesting to see how he responds to Eddie O'Shea's pressure this race now. Hopefully we're going to get one to the end. O'Gorman riding very, very well at the moment ahead of Eddie O'Shea, but it is them two at the moment. Ryan Hitchcock is third ahead of Thomas Gomez. Dylan Mellor, and through on the inside, that was Lucas Brown.
I've got someone that's gone down at the carousel. Unfortunately, they're back up and getting onto the bike now, but it looks like the bike just went from underneath them, which not good for them. Hopefully do continue. We're about to get back onto the bike, but that battle for the lead, half a second is all it is.
Lucas Brown was going into 6th place ahead of Ollie Walker, and he's made the move stick. Josh Bannister is now chasing after Ollie Walker. Manuel Brinton comes across the line. Manuel Brinton 55.3. He's actually lapping quicker than Ollie Walker, so lots of variables as this race continues, but Eddie O'Shea is right on Casey O'Gorman's case now as they go up to turn 6 and 7. Round there, round the long right-hander that doesn't even seem to end. That's O'Gorman leading ahead of Eddie O'Shea, and which way is this going to be? Eddie O'Shea, you cannot not be impressed with him, the way he's grown into this class. It's his first year in the class. He has been something quite truly amazing. He's alongside Casey O'Gorman, looks at turn 1, thinks better of it, doesn't need to do it now. There's still 7 laps to go on the Mini GP50s race 3.
89 thousandths of a second was all the gap was over the line. 4 tenths quicker on the last lap was Eddie O'Shea. Might well get into the pace of Casey O'Gorman. once they get really stuck behind them. There's still the battle going on, third and fourth as well, side by side for Ryan Hitchcock and Thomas Gomez into Spoon Corner. Ryan Hitchcock maintaining at third place, but only just. Thomas really attacking, having a good weekend so far as well.
Josh Bannister into 7th place, so Josh Bannister gets ahead of Ollie Walker. The battle out front though still raging. Casey O'Gorman still has it at the moment. Eddie O'Shea looking to try and pip him if he can, as they come through down into the last corner. A bit of traffic to contend with as well. That also a curveball the way of Casey O'Gorman. He's going to encounter that first, but it's O'Gorman ahead of Eddie O'Shea. Eddie O'Shea gets a good run out of turn 1. That's what we've been saying all weekend. It's all about getting a good run out of turn 1. Very, very important. All about momentum through the fast sweeping turn 3 into turn 4, but no move actually being made just yet. O'Gorman is holding off Eddie O'Shea so far.
Eddie O'Shea may well be too close to the back of Casey O'Gorman to really launch an attack. You can't sit too close back, because otherwise you just can't make a move. They can cover you off so much easier, and you get stuck into being at the same pace that they're at as they make their way through the Devil's Elbow complex. They've got a couple of riders ahead of them. This is where you really need to think smart, try and get around them quickly, because Eddie O'Shea will pounce on Casey O'Gorman, the first to encounter the riders. They try and go around the outside into the final corner. They're side by side, almost cuts across. The number 7 just having to get out of the way of the 114, and luckily Casey O'Gorman keeps the lead just from Eddie O'Shea. That could have ended very trickily, but that's what happens when you catch riders at just the right point. To be honest, in motor racing, you're very rarely going to catch someone at the point you really want them to get out of the way.
And that's why it's important not to ride right behind another rider, because you cannot build into any air and make time up and launch a proper attack into the next corner. You can't set anything up riding very, very close to the rider. Casey O'Gorman wide on the exit of the carousel. That's giving Eddie O'Shea a chance, but O'Gorman defends into turn 6 and 7. They come round now, start of Devil's Elbow. This is where we saw them trip up over the traffic last time round, and we know such dramas this time. 5 laps to go. Casey O'Gorman still leading very, very well, and I'm mega impressed with Eddie O'Shea in the fact he's able to keep at the pace of Casey O'Gorman. It's very, very rare that we've seen this year Casey O'Gorman in relatively drier conditions than most races this year, that he's had the pace, or someone else has had the pace to stay with him. It's a mark of the championship. It gets closer and closer as this year goes on. Brilliant stuff.
Casey O'Gorman still in the lead. Eddie O'Shea having half a look into the carousel. Ryan Hitchcock still in third place, just ahead of Thomas Gomez, who has Dylan Mellor for company now. Josh Bannister, Lucas Brown and Ollie Walker, your top 8. Emmanuel Brinton and James Rose solidly in 9th and 10th. Mason Johnson, Harrison Crosby, Alessandro Valente, Harrison Desoy and then Kyle Payne are your point scorers. We've got 3 laps left to go as they round the final corner. And this is where Casey O'Gorman has to really bide his time. They've got the number 25 of Kyle Payne just ahead of them, and last time they called them into turn number 1, and now catching them up towards turn number 2, which is a very tricky place to try and make a move. Casey O'Gorman half a look at the inside, does hold off. Eddie O'Shea could see this, maybe use this as an opportunity into Spoon Curve. Not quite, because he's not close enough. Still, as Kiko said, just too close. But interesting to note, the last lap, the new fastest lap for Eddie O'Shea, a 52.7, which is 4,000ths of a second quicker than Casey O'Gorman's lap time. They are absolutely stuck together, and this is at that difficult phase in the race where you really need to make a move if it's going to happen.
It's alright being quicker than the rider ahead of you and catching them, but you've still got to be able to pass them, and in order to do that you need a little bit of clear air to make the move. Eddie O'Shea looks like he's setting something up for the last corner. Not quite this time. O'Gorman still has it. Eddie O'Shea, good run along the straight, looks on the inside, doesn't quite get it done. So Casey O'Gorman still in the lead. Eddie O'Shea though giving it everything. Third place is Ryan Hitchcock. He's riding very, very well ahead of Thomas Gomez and Dylan Mellor. That is your top 5. Josh Bannister is in a lonely 6th, 7th for Lucas Brown, 8th for Ollie Walker. That is your top 8, but at the moment it's still Casey O'Gorman and Eddie O'Shea. Eddie O'Shea's now got a little bit of clear air ahead of him, and just enough of a gap to try and build into something. Maybe he is thinking about this. Maybe he didn't want to pass him earlier on in the race. He wants to do it with a lap and a bit to go.
Well, with a lap and a bit to go, you are slowly running out of options to do it. There was a couple of machine lengths as they headed into the Devil's Elbow complex. It's not that anymore. Into the final corner for the penultimate time. They're both being shown the last lap board. Eddie O'Shea, decent run out of the final corner and into turn one. Can't make a move, and he's dropped it. He's dropped it on the exit of turn number one. My goodness me, what a shame for Eddie O'Shea. He's running to get back onto the bike. He's got, 9 seconds ahead of Ryan Hitchcock. So if he can get back onto it, can well do it. But Casey O'Gorman gifted the race victory there with a lot less pressure than you anticipated. Ryan Hitchcock into second, and now Thomas Gomez into third.
Casey O'Gorman leading. He's going to cruise it home now. A lot easier for him now. Doesn't have to ride defensively. He might not know that a rider has gone down and that Eddie O'Shea had gone down at turn one. But Casey O'Gorman now at the start of the snake section as he comes through. Not long left now, as long as he keeps it clean himself, which he has no reason not to. He's been imperious all year. Casey O'Gorman is the dominant force across many classes in the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, and he's done it again. The number 7 is number 1. Second place should be Ryan Hitchcock, unless Thomas Gomez can launch an attack. They're at the final corner. Thomas Gomez has got a good run, but it's not going to be enough. Ryan Hitchcock on the podium again. Loads of podiums for the Hitchcocks this weekend. Thomas Gomez third, Dylan Mellor fourth. Josh Bannister gets a top 5 at a circuit he doesn't like. I was speaking to his dad yesterday. Lucas Brown is 6th, Ollie Walker 7th. Eddie O'Shea will get 8th place ahead of Emmanuel Brinton and James Rose. Such a shame for Eddie O'Shea. The battle for 11th place, that was Harrison Crosby getting ahead of Mason Johnson. Alessandro Valente will be the next one across the line. He takes 13th place. 14th will be Harrison Desoy, and 15th should be Kyle Payne. What a race that was. Such a shame it wasn't the grandstand finish we hoped for.
Well, your highlights then from the Mini GP50s into turn one for the first time. Casey O'Gorman did get a good lead building into it, but as the race progressed, the 114 of Eddie O'Shea really built into the race lead. A drop there for one of our riders. Luckily all is okay, but side by side for the race lead, challenging voraciously for the rest of the race, coming up towards the final corners. They were always making a move, trying to go down the inside at turn one, couldn't quite make it move, but as they've got a few more laps left to go side by side over the line, couldn't quite make it through even with some of the other riders in this race. But the challenge for the last lap, Eddie O'Shea knew he had to challenge for it, and then you just see it on the cameras if you're watching on our visual stream, the front just folding out from under and the rear then following suit. So Casey O'Gorman with the victory in the Mini GP50s, the third and final race of the weekend for them. Wilton Mill, the next race for them, and yet another good circuit for all of the Mini GPs. Thank you very much for all of your comments on our live radio streams, on social media, on the Cool Fab Racing website, and on motorsport.radio. You're listening to live coverage of round 6 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships, the official partner to the BSB and on the road to MotoGP.
The original and best British Championships for mini bikes. This is Cool Fab Racing.
And after that, you'd think we'd have a bit of a breather, but not quite. The Extreme 200 out onto the circuit next. Elliot Pinson will start on pole position on board the number 76 bike. The 86 of Charlie Nesbitt will line up next to him on the first row of the grid. Row 2 will be Gareth Roberts and Will Howarth, with Oscar Pinson and Elliot Dufton row 3. Brandon Perrill and Josh Ingram are on row 4, with Alex Vella, Jamie King and Sean Whittaker rounding out the 11-strong grid. The Extreme 200, maybe a few less entries than we sometimes see at Cool Fab this weekend, but still over the course of the 2 races so far this weekend, Kiko, some dramatic racing.
Gareth Roberts has been the man to beat in this class. He starts third on the grid. Elliot Pinson though on pole ahead of Charlie Nesbitt. Who is it going to be out of them two to get the jump down to turn 1?
Well, we'll wait and we will hear in just a few moments time. Everyone piling onto the grid. those pre-race nerves slowly building. Looking towards the first turn. So far, it's better to have been in second place than pole position. Pole position on the right, on the left for second place, and they seem to get a much easier run into turn number 1. The right-hander look towards the start line marshals. The green flag will go up just a second, holding it up now, dropping just as quickly from the second row of the grid. Will Howarth with a good start initially into second place, but drops down to third, maybe even to fourth. Elliot Pinson, though, very clean start, gets away into the lead of the race so far. Charlie Nesbitt trying to get stuck in, but struggling just briefly as they all make their way into Spoon for the first time. Will Howarth bullying himself into second place. That's a very good start and almost challenging for the race lead. In fact, is the race lead going into the carousel for the first time. The number 96 heads the pack.
Will Howarth in the lead then, ahead of Elliot Pinson, although Charlie Nesbitt looked like he was going through. Gareth Roberts is trying to push his front end through as well. Trying to see who that is in fifth. It's Brandon Perrell. Brandon Perrell, always a fast starter initially. And Alex Vella, talk of fast starters, that's from 9th on the grid into 6th. But at the moment, all that squabbling has allowed Will Howarth to make a break for it. He is your race leader by some margin, about a 1.7 second lead for Will Howarth after one lap. Gareth Roberts is into third place, got ahead of Elliot Dufton. Charlie Nesbitt has got a problem, had his foot out there, and through past him, I think, came Jamie King. So, or was it, it may have been Josh Ingram. Either way, Charlie Nesbitt has dropped a load of positions from his front row start, but absolutely nothing dropping for Will Howarth. He is off and running.
1.7 seconds was the gap as they came over the line for the first time. That has only subsequently increased over the first half of this race. Elliot Pinson getting involved into second place. Elliot Dufton fighting very hard as well. Gareth Roberts starting to claw back positions into third place, challenging for second on the exit of Devil's Elbow and into the final corner. All of this, though, is really allowing Will Howarth to try and take the lead. So 96, 76, and then 2-1-2. 3 seconds out between Howarth and Pinson. Pinson, though, has only got 2/10 of a second between himself and Gareth Roberts in third, with Elliot Dufton and Brandon Perrell also getting well and truly involved.
Jamie King has retired from the race. Down into pit lane goes Jamie King. He is out of this, but at the moment Will Howarth is off and running with this. In second place is Elliot Pinson. Third place is Gareth Roberts, and it's Elliot Dufton. Brandon Powell having a fantastic ride there in fifth
and
place.
around the outside, my goodness me, a really big challenge from Elliot Pinson on Gareth Roberts. Sorry to cut over you there, Kiko, but Gareth Roberts, the 2-1-2, desperately needs more points for his championship run as well.
He does, especially with Will Howarth in the lead, and Will Howarth in the lead by so much he could do with clearing past Elliot Pinson so he can set his sights on the race leader. But Will Howarth, he's absolutely flying away with this. Fourth place, Elliot Dufton ahead of Brandon Perrell. Alex Vella having a great ride in sixth, but alongside him now comes Josh Ingram. They're side by side, 3 abreast up the straight. Josh Ingram is trying to get on the inside of Alex Vella. Alex Vella's trying to go around the outside of Brandon Perrell. Brandon Perrell shows him the white line, and that absolutely teaches Alex Vella never to do that again. But all of the squabbling at the moment is on that battle for fourth place, which has now got Brandon Perrell heading up that order, because Elliot Dufton has gone back down the order. I think he's about 6th place now for Elliot Dufton, so he's lost a couple of positions.
Struggling in these early stages of the race on lap 4, 9 to go at the present through the final corner for Will Howarth, the race leader. Battle for second still between Pinson and Roberts. Elliot Pinson, that is, having to desperately challenge Gareth Roberts, who's got the new fastest lap of 49.8. They're starting to close in on Will Howarth for the race lead. The number 47, 147 of Josh Ingram is now into 5th place. Brandon Perrell, so far a good run in 4th. Charlie Nesbitt getting stuck in with Alex Vella now as well into turns 2 and 3. Whatever the problem was for Charlie seems to have cleared up at the moment, and now scything his way back through the order. Will not want to be that low down, even though it's not very low down. He won't want to be anywhere near that low for too much longer. Josh Ingram next on his hit list.
Brandon Perrell leading that group in 4th place very, very well, but Elliot Pinson and Gareth Roberts are just starting now to settle down and I think work together as they come onto the front straight. Then Will Howarth What is his lap time? 50.6 for Will Howarth, 50 flat for Elliot Pinson, 50.3 for Gareth Roberts. So yes, 6/10 has been taken out of Will Howarth's lead. It is down to 1.7. The battle for fourth place is well and truly alive. Brandon Perrell is trying to defend now from Josh Ingram, and Charlie Nesbitt is there too. Brandon Perrell turning into the long right-hander now at turn 3, over to turn 4, and he's just about got it. But Will Howarth's lead is coming down dramatically. This circuit is drying out. Times are starting to increase now. Really, they are starting to really pick up a bit of pace out there. This is great racing. 7 laps still left to go.
And Charlie Nesbitt, 6th place, challenging for 5th place with Josh Ingram. They really want to get past Brandon Perrell. The 1-4-6, our top 3 starting to have a bit of space between them. Not so between Perrell, Ingram and Nesbitt. Into the final corner, Nesbitt a few times looking cheekily at the inside of the number 147. Can't get it to work at the present time. But Brandon Perrell being followed by 2 very hungry riders. Josh Ingram looking to riders left, looking to riders right, just cannot find a way through at the present time. Into Spoon Corner once again. We're halfway through this race. Will Howarth 1.5 seconds now, the gap between himself and Elliot Pinson. Gareth Roberts still with the fastest lap in 3rd. Then it's this battle we're discussing between Perrell, Ingram and Nesbitt. Oscar Pinson into 7th with Alex Vella, Elliot Dufton and Sean Whittaker. The top 10, Jamie King, unfortunately, as mentioned, a retirement so far. But on to lap 7, completing lap 7, on to lap 8. Starting to really run out of time for a battle for the race lead. If you're going to close in, you've still got a bit of time, but not too much. Charlie Nesbitt, though, forcing a move maybe up the inside over the line once again, but can't quite do it. 4th place just is Brandon Perrell, clinging onto it like anything I've seen.
Brandon Perrell riding very well. We know he's capable of it. Get my teeth in the right way. So he's living up to what we know he can do, and that is fantastic. It takes one mistake from the leaders and he's on the podium, so don't forget that at all. Will Howarth has definitely got company now. Elliot Pinson is right on the back of Will Howarth now. Will he be able to get past Howarth? Of course, we do not know. Elliot Pinson absolutely all over him, almost riding pillion with him. But on to the straight then, last lap in about 4 laps time. There's enough time really to make a move, but I feel the move is going to come sooner rather than later, and I've got to say, I'm not sure if Will Howarth will be able to make the move back if he gets past. Brandon Perrell riding well in 4th. Ahead of now Charlie Nesbitt. Nesbitt has gone into 5th place. He's ahead of Josh Ingram, so that has sorted itself out. But the leading 3 are Will Howarth, Elliot Pinson and Gareth Roberts. It is a battle for the lead between 3 bikes.
3 relatively different bikes. Will Howarth enjoying that race lead for quite a while. The gap was only 0.130 coming over the line. May well be the same again as they make their way through the Devil's Elbow. Such a tight and twisty complex. You can't put the power on too quickly. You'll spit the rear of the bike out. Some people found that out earlier, not to be particularly good for them. It's half a second for the race lead between our 3 riders. Gareth Roberts also keeping touch with it, but now Charlie Nesbitt through on Brandon Perrell into 4th place. So good riding from Charlie, also good riding from Brandon.
See, be interesting if Brandon Perrell can get back past Charlie Nesbitt. He's going for it. He's gone past. So Brandon Perrell, on horsepower alone, didn't need any slipstream there, has gone back into 4th place. So Brandon Perrell isn't giving up without a fight at all. But the leaders, Will Howarth, Elliot Pinson, Gareth Roberts, nothing between these 3 out front. They're into the Devil's Elbow at turn 9, into turn 10, 11 and 12 still to go, and we are counting down the laps. So we're counting down the opportunities as well. Into the last corner, Will Howarth leads, Elliot Pinson 2nd, Gareth Roberts 3rd. All of them separated by a 10th in lap time that last time around, and alongside here comes Elliot Pinson looking on the inside of Will Howarth, but Will Howarth cuts his nose off. Have that, he says to Elliot Pinson.
It's not just a race lead where they're going side by side. Brandon Perrell again back through on Charlie Nesbitt. They were side by side over the line. They were nearly touching feet as well. Josh Ingram, Oscar Pinson as well. Also Josh Ingram and Oscar Pinson getting involved for 6th and 7th. The race lead not quite changing, but concatenating so quickly.
Oscar Pinson has joined the party now for that battle for fourth. He's up into 6th place. Josh Ingram has gone back a place. So Oscar Pinson moving his way forward. Will Elliot Pinson be able to do it? We've got the last lap flag waiting to be shown. Will Howarth, Elliot Pinson, Gareth Roberts. That's the order with a lap to go. Will it be an order a lap later? We'll wait and see.
One of the last chances, and Will Howarth cuts to Ryder's right hand side. He's leaving Elliot Pinson no room, but they're still side by side, trying to force a move through. He's keeping oh so close. He's got the inside coming into Spoon Corner. Into the lead goes Elliot Pinson. Can he hold it for the last half a lap, or will Gareth Roberts also try and find a way through? Will Howarth got the lead. They started the lap, but he hasn't got it now.
Elliot Pinson leading this race then. Will he hold on to it? We've seen Will Howarth before. He's good in that final sector, especially in turns 11 and 12, the final two on the course. Elliot Pinson chasing then his win for today. Gareth Roberts looks out of it for a win. I think Elliot Pinson may well have this. Will Howarth is not going to be close enough. Gareth Roberts is looking on the inside of Will Howarth. He's pushed him wide. Gareth Roberts dive bombs. Elliot Pinson wins, and Will Howarth commiserates in third. Now turning your attention to the battle for fourth. They're in the S's. We're into Devil's Elbow. Brandon Perrell so far has got this. I think he's ahead of Oscar Pinson. Will Oscar Pinson hold on? Charlie Nesbitt's trying to ride round him, but Brandon Perrell's going to get it. Nesbitt on the run to the line isn't going to get there. Perrell, Pinson and Nesbitt. And then in 7th place we have Josh Ingram. Alex Vella will be 8th, I'm sure, and Elliot Dufton in 9th. What a fiasco, that last lap. Take your breath away.
Well, highlights of that race then. Too many to discuss really, but the start oh so crucial in many series. Down towards turn 1 for the first time. There were 3 wide going into the carousel for the first time, and Will Howarth made his move up the inside. Committed to that line, kept it for such a long time, although right near the end of the race, in fact just on the last lap, held out. He was trying to squeeze Elliot Pinson as much he could, but didn't quite work out. Had to stay in that later place, but as they went into the final corner for the final time, up the inside went Gareth Roberts. Cheekily done, but 2nd place. If you don't ask, you don't get. Certainly got an extra few points for his championship tilt. Also very close, Charlie Nesbitt trying to make a move up the inside, bouncing up and down the bike, just trying to make sure that they could get through, but to no avail. Exciting stuff from the Extreme 200s. We will have more of that at Wilton Mill.
Oh, I don't know if I can take any more. We've got the Mini F1 sidecars are up next. 5 more races to go in today's schedule. What a weekend this has been. Right from yesterday, we said yesterday on our coverage that this track has seen probably the best racing we've had all year here in North Wales. Been brilliant, really enjoyed it.
Fantastic action as ever from the Cool Fab series, and you're listening. Thank you very much for tuning in, leaving all your comments. Please do keep leaving them. We will read out many of those, and make sure you share it all around as well. You want your friends, your family, whoever to see it, make sure you get it shared. Thank you very much though for tuning in. Live coverage of round 6 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championship, the official partner series to the BSB and on the road to MotoGP.
The original and best British championships for mini bikes. This is Cool Fab Racing. The official partner series to the BSB. This is Cool Fab Racing.
Mini F1 sidecars head out onto circuit for their 3rd and final race of the weekend. Mick Williams certainly took pole position. He's taken 2 wins so far. Will he make another hat-trick in this weekend? Well, he's lined up in pole position to do it. Mick Lee will line up alongside Simon Ibbotson, and Adrian Ems are your second row of the grid. John Hosker and Jack Walters on row 3. Mark Parker on the 4th row in 7th place. Didn't take part in the first race this weekend, but we did get Mark Parker and Passenger out earlier on this morning. We're going to get some more action from them. I know we don't normally ask for predictions, Kiko, but the Mini F1 sidecars, 6 laps in prospect. How much action are you expecting from this?
Not a lot. I'm not sure that Simon Ibbotson has been driving very, very well. And podium so far. So who knows what's going to happen in this one? I'm expecting
Nonetheless, we get ready for the race start. The Mini F1 sidecars line up onto the grid. We've got the number 26 and the 44 lining up on the front row of the grid. Everyone inching forward just to get into the optimal positions. Mick Williams will not want to repeat the antics from the race 3 last time out at Red Lodge. Don't creep forward even slightly. Waiting patiently, looking towards the green flag. It gets underway now. Mick Williams with a good start, so does the number 44 and the 76. So Mick Williams leads from Mick Lee and Adrian Ems, but side by side, Mark Parker trying to get involved. Simon Ibbotson has been giving us some good racing over the course of the weekend, and as they make their way into Spoon Corner for the first time, it's side by side for 3rd place. Simon Ibbotson on Ryder's right hand side uses the inside line to good effect, takes the final spot on the podium thus far, but it's a 4 sidecar battle for 3rd place. Adrian Ems getting stuck in along with John Hosker.
Mick Williams so far leading though. Looks like we have a little bit of rain. So just as we thought that it had gone away, it hasn't. And Mick Williams leading then in tricky conditions ahead of Mick Lee. Simon Ibbotson's bad start has been recovered to 3rd. Adrian Ems in 4th. So all of them coming down. Mick Lee across the curbs on both sides that time. Very lucky to get away. He was bouncing all over the place. Simon Ibbotson likewise in 3rd. 4th is Adrian Ems. 5th place John Hosker. Jack Quarters is in 6th, and Mark Parker bringing up the rear in the 230 at the moment in 7th place. But at the moment, with the rain falling, Mick Williams in a prime position ahead of Mick Lee. Not a lot between them. We saw this in qualifying yesterday, if you remember.
Not just a lot in qualifying, also not a lot in the race. Even closer between Simon Ibbotson and Adrian Ems, 3rd and 4th in the race. Into the long left-handed hairpin at the carousel. Goes on for such a long time, the passenger must get quite dizzy having to travel around there, but fighting very closely for 3rd through the double apex right-hander and into the Devil's Elbow complex. Tight, twisty, right and left. 2 rights and then another left, a bit like the bus stop chicane at Spa, the very old bus stop chicane. Nonetheless, side by side also for 5th place between John Hosker and Jack Walters. Into the final corner, they still pull side by side. 127 on Ryder's left, Ryder's right for the number 2 of Jack Walters. John Hosker keeps it around the outside. Adrian Ems using the inside line, Ryder's right hand side, to get the position and into 3rd place again by turn number 2. Might not be a close battle for the race lead, but the battle for 3rd place really hotting up. 2 sidecars, 3 sidecars in there. Jack Walters not too far away as well, so 76 just holding on to 3rd place. Simon Ibbotson desperate to make the move.
Simon Ibbotson desperate for another podium. 2 so far this weekend. He had passenger issues at the last end, if you remember. At Red Lodge, kept losing his passenger, but he's had a complete change of form here. The rain is starting to come down now. It's really starting to pick up a bit of precipitation out there, so watch out on them painted curbs and all the curbs around the circuit. You do not want to be running over them. But Adrian Ems has got company now. Simon Ibbotson really wide, almost on the grass. Simon Ibbotson, where are you going? I don't need my grass cutting, but if I do, I'll give you a ring. 4th place now for John Hosker. Simon Ibbotson in 5th, 6th place Jack Quarters, and a distant 7th for Mark Parker, but the rain is falling, so it's all about whether or not we get this race seen through till the end.
Well, it almost caused calamity through the final corner. John Hosker following Simon Ibbotson off. They made contact as they rejoined the circuit. They made contact at turn number 4, trying to barge his way through. Back into 4th place now for Simon Ibbotson. John Hosker just holding on. Jack Quarters getting closer after that loss of momentum, getting a bit fisticuffs out there between the 46 and the 127. They're probably trying to debate who's the better grass cutter on the exit of the final corner. But 2 laps left to go for Mick Williams. He's having no such trouble. Mick Lee in the 44, bright yellow, not a tinge of green on that sidecar either. Adrian Ems remained in 3rd, but 4th place being debated by John Hosker. Simon Ibbotson in 4th at the moment. They're still running very wide over the final curb on Ryder's left-hand side, but it's Ibbotson, Hosker, Quarters, battle for 4th, almost side by side for the battle for 5th now. Jack Quarters on Ryder's right-hand side. It is almost 3 wide. My goodness me, they are giving it everything they can and more, but Simon Ibbotson remains in 4th for the time being, ahead of John Hosker and Jack Walters. But hang on, Simon Ibbotson slowing. My goodness me, going through turn number 4, slowing is Simon Ibbotson. So after all of that, might be having transmission troubles, seems to be picking up the pace again, so maybe just couldn't quite grab the gear at the right time, and has gifted John Hosker and Jack Walters a few more positions. In all of the excitement we're having though, Mick Williams run off into the distance, just takes the final lap board. Mick Lee still 2nd and also taking it, and then there's a long old wait for the number 76 of Adrian Ems in 3rd, and he is just about to see the final lap board.
Mick Williams cruising to another victory, cruising to the championship.
So
we've got a slower driver. Who was that? Was that John Hosker? I think it was. John Hosker was slow there down to the first turn. Maybe he's waiting for Jack Walls, maybe they're friends, but we do not know that, of course. But Mick Williams coming through turn 7 at the top of the Devil's Elbow section. He has been a class act so far this year, winning all but one of the races, and even then he crossed the line first. It was only a penalty later on that took that away from him. He's coming through down to the last corner. Mick Williams through there, keeps it neat and tidy in style, takes the checkered flag and his 17th win of the season. Is there any stopping him? Mick Lee tried. Mick Lee is 2nd. Adrian Ems should be 3rd, and depending on what happens later on in this race with the battle for 5th place, Jack Quarters and Simon Ibbotson, they're closing on John Hosker. Nothing, I don't think. It looks to me like Adrian Ems has got 3rd. Yes, he has. Going to be a run to the line for everyone else. 4th for John Hosker, whose outfit was weaving around all over the race. Jack Quarters 5th. Simon Ibbotson takes a 6th, and Mark Parker is 7th. Great racing in the Mini F1 sidecars, but Mick Williams has done it again.
After all of that, the Mini F1 sidecars never fail to disappoint. Close racing right from the get-go. Off the line for the first time. Mick Williams a secure lead going into turn 1 for the first time. A bit calamitous though further back. Simon Ibbotson, Adrian Ems all running wide on the exit of the first corner. The moment where they all seem to go very wide, Simon Ibbotson challenged the 127 to go wide with you. Anything you can do, I can do better. Took the position in the end, but slowing was Simon Ibbotson later on into the race. Unfortunately put paid to a good run for him, and then over the line on the final lap just to let one rider through, and then taking the victory was Mick Williams. Once again, the 26 cannot be beaten here at Glenny Gores this weekend, round 6 of the 2018 Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championships. Now, we might take a bit of a breath after the Mini F1 sidecars, but if you've got a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, whatever, go and make it now, go and get it ready, because up next it is the Mini GP70s. The 3rd and final race of the weekend, probably always the best race of any series over the course of the weekend, but the Mini GP70s will have great action, Kiko.
This is the premier class. This is the one where all the riders want to be. This is where all the riders want to win. This is the class which is the blue ribbon event of this paddock. The Mini GP70s. Casey O'Gorman in this one, Dan. Finn Smart on the podium for the first time in race 2 as they all bunch up and come out of pit lane. But Finn Smart, James Rose on the podium early on today. Who is it going to be later on. We had Casey O'Gorman go course cutting earlier, taking exceeding track limits to a whole new level. 20-second penalty for him. But where are we going to go with this race? This is going to be a real thriller. The grid for this one looks like this. Evan Belford on pole position, looking to take his 3rd win this weekend in the class. Casey O'Gorman in 2nd place. Bailey Stewart-Campbell, you can never rule him out, in 3rd. And Owen Mellor, a fantastic 4th. Finn Smart, first podium early on today. He'll be looking to capitalise on that. He goes from the head of row 3, 5th for him. Sean Abel in 6th. Rossi Banham 7th. Jack Kirsch, who had an unfortunate mistake in race 1, is coming from 8th on the grid, and he loves these mixed conditions, so watch out for the number 96 starting on the back of row 4. James Rose, podium sensationally in race 2 earlier today. Saffron Watley completes the top 10. She is top female. 11th is Kyle Payne. Taylor Lawrence in 12th, the charismatic Taylor Lawrence, always welcome up here in the commentary box. Elliot Crosby 13th, and Holly Harris, with relation to Fraser Rogers, none other than, in 14th. So this grid is packed with talent all the way through. There is not a rider in here that couldn't win. This is going to be electric.
Waiting on the front row of the grid, Casey O'Gorman and Evan Belford, the marshals. Just making sure everyone is in the right place at the right moment, and the nerves building very quickly. The heart rate will be racing even as we will get racing in just a moment. Race start board about to go up, looking towards the green flag for the final time at Gleneagles. The Mini GP70s get underway now. Casey O'Gorman pulls a wheelie off the line and still manages to take the lead going into turn 1 for the first time. Evan Belford 2nd, 3rd place, so Bailey Stewart-Campbell all being challenged. Owen Mellor got a good start as well, funneling through up towards the spoon for the first time out of 12. Casey O'Gorman has got the lead so far. Evan Belford, though, does not seem to be very secured in 2nd place. Bailey Stewart-Campbell challenging for 3rd. Challenging for 4th place is the number 14 of Finn Smart, trying to go around the outside at the carousel for the first time. Can't quite make it work, but conditions much nicer for the riders out there than earlier on this morning. Really less of a challenge for them.
Can't believe Casey O'Gorman is looking at taking his first win of the weekend here in the final race of the weekend in the Mini GP70s. Casey O'Gorman then leading this race from Evan Belford, and he's setting a fast pace as well at the front. O'Gorman a 51.5 for an opening lap is not too shabby at all. Evan Belford 2nd, Bailey Stewart-Campbell 3rd, Owen Mellor 4th, Finn Smart 5th, Sean Abel, James Rose, Jack Kirsch, Saffron Watley in 9th, and Elliot Crosby in 10th. That is your running order as they come up to the spoon. Owen Mellor and Finn Smart are going side by side, but nothing quite happening there. Casey O'Gorman is off and running, vintage O'Gorman stuff here.
Well, he's certainly not had many chances to display that over the course of the weekend. Evan Belford in 2nd place at the moment, a couple of machine lengths ahead of 3rd place Bailey Stewart-Campbell, but 4th place, the one being disputed, Owen Mellor, still 4th, Finn Smart in 5th, and slowly starting to be reeled in by James Rose and Rossi Banham, two very good riders who do like to get stuck into a good battle. The battle for 4th place about to become 4 riders as they go through turn 4 once again. Finn Smart in 5th, not for much longer, trying to look on the rider's left hand side. Casey O'Gorman with a fastest lap there of 49.5, nearly a second quicker than Evan Belford. Classic O'Gorman stuff, as you mentioned, Kiko. Bailey Stewart-Campbell, though, really starting to challenge for 3rd place. They've got the riders out there, though, have got a fair bit of room to build into, but really for the confidence, that is an important thing, because they can just push at their own pace, get to where they need to do, and then make the moves, such as Finn Smart is trying into the Devil's Elbow complex once again. 5th place, doesn't want 5th for much longer, though.
Casey O'Gorman leading this race across the line. Evan Belford into 2nd place, but 2.7 seconds adrift. With 9 laps to go, it's not insurmountable, but it doesn't look like Casey O'Gorman is messing about this time around. And Bailey Stewart-Campbell in 3rd, not allowing Evan Belford to break away. So as conditions dry out here, the rain has subsided for now. No more rain is on our windows here. 4th for Owen Mellor, 5th is Finn Smart, riding very, very well, Finn Smart, in this year. But Casey O'Gorman off and running in typical Casey O'Gorman fashion. It is something spectacular.
Something spectacular indeed. Battle also going on for 11th and 12th at the moment. Holly Harris just holding off Taylor Lawrence.
Finn Smart into 4th place. Finn Smart has gone into 4th place. He's ahead now of James Rose, and Owen Mellor has dropped a couple of positions, and Rossi Banham is up next. So Finn Smart then has gone into 4th place. Great stuff from Finn Smart. Rather clever riding, eh? Wouldn't you think so? James Rose in 5th, Owen Mellor 6th, Sean Abel is next up. He is 7th place. Oh no, he's not. He's 8th place. Rossi Banham is 7th.
At the moment they head towards Spoon Corner. This battle for 4th place, well, it might be smart of him to be in 4th at the moment, but with 3 other riders behind, it's not going to be an easy feat. James Rose, the number 8 behind in the plain white machine. Not that it's not a bland performance. 5th place, very good so far from James Rose. Was fighting fantastically earlier on this weekend, doing more of the same at the moment, really challenging into the Devil's Elbow complex. Owen Mellor in 6th, still holding on very well, and so is the other riders. Indeed, Rossi Banham getting involved, Sean Abel in 8th ahead of Jack Kirsch and Saffron Watley. Eddie Crosby doing well as well.
48.772. Casey O'Gorman with the fastest lap of the race, pulls out half a second on Evan Belford. It's now up to 3.2. So Casey O'Gorman pulling away. Looks like we've got a battle for 2nd place though. Bailey Stewart Campbell's quicker than Evan Belford last time around as well. Just 0.6 between them two. But Casey O'Gorman at the moment is your race leader from Evan Belford. Then it's Bailey Stewart Campbell. Finn Smart is still 4th, only just though from James Rose, as those two both made their podium debuts earlier on in race 2. Well, I very much doubt they'll make the podium in race 3, but anything can happen. Evan Belford still holding off Bailey Stewart Campbell. What is the gap as they come across the line? New fastest lap from O'Gorman, and it is now up to 3.7 seconds. So Casey O'Gorman with a comfortable lead, 6 laps to go.
And not comfortable for Finn Smart in 4th place at the moment. James Rose still breathing down his neck into turn 1. Got the slipstream, going to try and look to rider's right hand side, making half a move up the inside. Can't quite commit, hasn't quite got the run. It's such a difficult thing to do. But into Spoon Curve, a late move up the inside, and into 4th place now for James Rose, the number 8, having successfully gotten past Finn Smart in 5th. Now Owen Mellor will be the next one to attack the number 14, or can Rossi Banham finally wedge the door straight open and have a 14 versus 13 fight once again? Either way, James Rose, 1 machine length, all he needs into the Devil's Elbow complex, nonetheless giving it a very good go so far. 5 laps left to go, 4.5 laps left to go indeed for Casey O'Gorman, really bossing it with a 6.3 second gap.
Indeed, he is well out in front. Casey O'Gorman is creaming this one, but the big battle is for 4th place. James Rose at the moment has it. Finn Smart is by no means out of it. Owen Mellor's still in the mix as well. 7th place is Sean Abel. Jack Kirsch is in 9th, 8th for Sean Abel. 7th is Rossi Banham, I believe. Or has he got... No, Rossi Banham is still there. Couldn't see him as they come through into the carousel. James Rose just beginning to pull a little bit of a gap out now ahead of Finn Smart, but a big battle on track now is definitely for 2nd place, because Evan Belford has been caught, but it's one thing catching, it's another thing passing. Bailey Stewart Campbell right on the rear end of Evan Belford as Casey O'Gorman comes up excuse me, to the turn 3.
Well, it's certainly catching up, not only for the battle for 4th and 5th at the moment. Sean Abel catching up in 8th place, desperately wants 7th place from Rossi Banham. A fantastic run out of turn number 1, side by side between Rossi Banham and Owen Mellor up towards turns 2 and 3. Can he pull it off? Not quite. They still remain in that battle then for 6th place, but one more rider added into the mix. Something that they will be enjoying, but Evan Belford now being reeled in significantly by Bailey Stewart Campbell. They're still only a couple of seconds behind Casey O'Gorman over the line to start. 3 laps left to go. Evan Belford though is not secure in 2nd place. Bailey Stewart Campbell has been a couple of tenths behind, is now 0.4 behind, so dropped a couple of tenths on that last lap.
Evan Belford is 4 tenths quicker than Casey O'Gorman on that last lap. I don't know whether that's going to be a pattern we see emerge, or if that was just Casey O'Gorman backing it off for a lap. We do not know. Finn Smart is into 5th place. James Rose has cleared off into the distance, but Finn Smart has got his hands full with Sean Abel and Rossi Banham, that is for sure. But Bailey Stewart Campbell still giving chase to Evan Belford. Belford has it so far, so nothing to worry about there for Evan at the moment. He's got a good gap as well behind him, although Bailey Stewart-Campbell can build into that, down into the last corner. Casey O'Gorman across the line. I think the gap's come down again between the leading two. Casey O'Gorman across the line, 2.6, 8/10 of a second quicker. Evan Belford that last time around, maybe, I don't know if Casey O'Gorman's got a problem or whether it was the traffic that he had encountered, but the gap has definitely come down. Evan Belford still in that second place despite Bailey Stewart-Campbell trying as hard as he can.
Speaking of trying as hard as he can, Rossi Banham now up into 5th place, having passed Finn Smart, but they're side by side going into turns 2 and 3, just about holding off. Finn Smart back up the inside. Very challenging stuff between the pair of them, but Owen Mellor down into 8th place at the moment, Sean Abel in 7th, and Finn Smart just easing his way back through on Rossi Banham. That battle is going to continue for the rest of the race with 2 laps left to go, 1 lap left to go, and it's going to be very close between Casey O'Gorman, 3 seconds ahead of Evan Belford, but Bailey Stewart-Campbell desperately wants 2nd place.
Bailey Stewart-Campbell hasn't got long left to get that 2nd place, though. Evan Belford riding as well as he needs to at the moment. Rossi Banham makes a lunge on the inside of Finn Smart, starts gesticulating. Finn Smart holds him off. So now the battle there is for 5th place at the moment. Finn Smart has got it ahead of Sean Abel at the moment. Rossi Banham's out of that battle really now with that mistake. Casey O'Gorman is going to win this race. Evan Belford, though, is just a few bike lengths clear of Bailey Stewart-Campbell, a few safe bike lengths clear of Bailey Stewart-Campbell. Last corner for Casey O'Gorman, at last wins a Mini GP70 race this weekend. He won all 3 last year.
Flag. There's no checkered
Evan
flag.
Belford on the...
The checkered flag has not actually gone out yet, so we officially are continuing on this race as the checkered flag hasn't been shown. Casey O'Gorman still leads 2.6 seconds. The gap between Evan Belford, Bailey Stewart-Campbell, still that 3/10. Finn Smart just about holding off on Rossi Banham. The checker flag looks like it's being prepared now, so this lap will become the last lap. It's not official until it's checkered flag, of course.
Unbelievable. Well, excuse me then. So we still have this race to go. Casey O'Gorman has got his way through the traffic. Bailey Stewart-Campbell gets another chance to attack, and he's on the inside. Doesn't quite make it through that time. Evan Belford just doing enough at the moment to hold on. Bailey Stewart-Campbell is trying. Casey O'Gorman now takes the win. Evan Belford is 2nd, just about ahead of Bailey Stewart-Campbell. As we take a breather, 4th place should be James Rose. 5th place is where the battle is. Finn Smart has got 5th. Finn Smart has not got 5th. Rossi Banham has got past him. Finn Smart has gone down to 6th. This race is not over though till the checker flag. James Rose is 4th. With coming down to the last corner, Finn Smart is going to be all about the run. Rossi Banham is just going to get there. Finn Smart still takes a top 6, and rightly so. 7th place Sean Abel, 8th place will be Owen Mellor, and then it will be Jack Kirsch in 9th. So what about that for a finish?
Well, a great finish there for everyone out there. Despite the extra lap they were contesting, some of the highlights from that race then. Casey O'Gorman very close and got a good start from the line. You could see a big wheelie from the start of the race. Did continue on, not a problem in the end. Evan Belford, Bailey Stewart-Campbell getting stuck into the battle of the race throughout the course of 12 laps. Meanwhile, that fantastic battle for 5th place had been going on. Finn Smart and the likes of Rossi Banham powering through a constant. Also a constant is winning for Casey O'Gorman. Takes the first win of the weekend for himself in the Mini GP70s. The 3rd race of the weekend for the Mini GP70s. And that's job done then for them, I suppose. And we'll be back out at Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire 3 weekends time for round 7. But you're listening to live coverage of round 6 of the 2018 Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championships.
This is Cool FAB-Racing. Live coverage all season on the Cool FAB-Racing Facebook page and on the website coolfabracing.com.
So, out next will be the AC40 Pros. So far this season, it's been a fantastic battle between Mason Foster and Johnny Garness. As you'll see on the camera, give a big wave, Johnny Garness, who joins us in the commentary box for this one. First of all, why don't you just sort of tell us why you're not out in this race next?
Well, at Red Lodge, in the liquid cooled on the last lap, I was trying to get up the inside of Emmanuel, and I think I gassed it a bit too early, and then I high-sided and I think I broke my collarbone.
Okay, that's not good. How did they say how long it's going to take to get mended?
I don't actually know. I'll maybe be able to ride Wilton Mill, but I'll see.
Well, hopefully we will wait and see. And we've got the AC40 Pros out next. Got Mason starting on pole position and Sullivan Mounsey starting in second. Who do you think is going to do well?
I don't actually know, because Mason has been all over the back of Sully, but Sully has been able to keep the wins. So I'm maybe thinking Sully might get it, but Mason Foster could get it.
Okay, so we get ready for this race. If you want to come in, Quico, if you want to quickly run us through the grid before we get underway.
Mason Foster on pole, Sullivan Mounsey second. Sullivan Mounsey, of course, with 2 wins to his name so far. Troy Jeffrey third, Luca Hopkins fourth, Ronnie Harris fifth, Taylor Stewart Campbell sixth, Clayton Edmonds, Ethan Sparks, Orlando Phillips, Harrison McKay complete the top 10. Ruben Sherman Boyd 11th, Alessandro Volante in 12th, Jamie Woodcock 13th, Ben Jolie 14th, 15th for Keaton Payne, Greg Marshall and Jada Howe complete the grid. Obviously no Johnny Garnis, because he's in the best seat in the house. He gets to watch all the action instead of be part of it. I know that's probably not what he wants, but of course he is still in with this championship fight, even though he's not out on track. Ready for a start, Mason Foster versus Sullivan Mounsey. Can Sullivan Mounsey make it a hat-trick here?
Well, expert advice as ever in the commentary box. We get ready for the third and final AC40 Pro race of the weekend. Underway now, a good start from Sullivan Mounsey around the outside, and Mason Foster, who has to back out going into turn one for the first time. Troy Jeffrey trying to follow them as they run down the very long back straight towards turns 2 and 3 for the first time. Mason Foster back into second place already, but Sullivan Mounsey, the number 44, in the all familiar position of leading. Really enjoying a good race meeting at here, the GYG circuit this weekend so far. Side by side for fourth place now. Some people do get involved quite heavily in the AC40 Pros. Always some great action, Kiko.
Always great action indeed, and Sullivan Mounsey so far has led every single lap in every single race done in this class at this circuit this year, and he's doing that again. Can he hold on? We will see very soon. Mason Foster has made up the time he lost to him on that first initial phase of getting away. Mason Foster's alongside Sullivan Mounsey. Mason Foster's nearly past Sullivan Mounsey at turn one, but not quite. Sullivan Mounsey leads. Mason Foster, Troy Jeffrey is third, Clayton Edmonds is fourth, Luca Hopkins fifth, Ronnie Harris, Taylor Stewart Campbell, Ethan Sparks, Orlando Phillips, Ben Jolie, as quick as that across the line. Extremely
quick stuff, side by side almost for Sullivan Mounsey and Mason Foster. Johnny, you've had Mason Foster attacking you. You've been racing him all season. How fearful is it when you've got him that close to the back of you just on the first lap?
Yeah, well, it's really, really tense when, like, you can hear Mason all over the back of you, and yeah, it's like really tense.
What would Sullivan be thinking then? What if you were in his position, having to defend from him?
I think Sullivan has maybe got a bit of butterflies, because Mason normally strikes on the last couple of laps, and as you can see, Mason is all over the back of Sully. And that's what he does.
Well, sorry to cut in there. You can interrupt us as much as you like, because you're the one in the pound seat. You know what it's like, just as Sullivan Mounsey defending side by side in turns 2 and 3. But it's not just that battle that's going on. There's some great side by side stuff further down as well.
Mason Foster round the outside of Sullivan Mounsey. Now he's trying to cut in. He'll get the run down the straight, but Mason Foster not able to make it move. I bet he is thinking, Sullivan Mounsey, I'm never wanting to come up head to head with you again, especially when you're ahead, because he just cannot make that pass just yet. Sullivan Mounsey riding very, very well. 7 laps to go. There's enough time to do it, but we've seen already Sullivan Mounsey just will hold off the second place rider Mason Foster until the very last lap. He keeps doing it. That's why he's got 2 wins to his name. He's led every single lap, but Mason Foster looks as menacing as he has been all weekend. He looks like he means business now, wants to win, wants to capitalise now that his main championship rival is in the commentary box or not out there on circuit. They go head to head down the straight into turn 3. Mason Foster trying to sweep round but can't, and Sullivan Mounsey holds on again. Another corner with no pass.
Well, no pass so far. As you said, Johnny, he likes to strike late. What kind of moves would you be trying to do just to stop him from attacking you?
Well, I'll probably ride defensive. That's what I normally do when I can hear him all over the back of me. Yeah, that's what I practically do, just ride defensive.
And you had that, of course, that really close 2 thousandths over the line last time out at Red Lodge. How was that from your perspective?
Yeah, when me and Mason crossed the line, I don't think we had no clue who won, and me and Mason were like looking at each other like, what? And we didn't really know who won until the next day.
Well, it takes a while to find out sometimes. The results not taking as long at the moment. Sullivan Mounsey defending brilliantly so far from Mason Foster, the number 88. Troy Jeffrey in 3rd place as we're already halfway into this race. Clayton Edmonds and Ronnie Harris, your top 5. Luca Hopkins, Taylor Stewart Campbell, then Ethan Sparks and Orlando Phillips, with Harrison McKay rounding out the top 10 in this early stage. Ben Jolliffe, Alessandro Valente, Jamie Woodcock and Ruben Sherman Boyd, following with Greg Marshall in 15th.
Sullivan Mounsey leading so far at the moment. Mason Foster with the fastest lap of the race last time around. Very, very marginal. There is hardly any difference between them. They are absolute neck to neck, head to head down the straight. And that is your first move. Mason Foster then into the lead now. How does Sullivan Mounsey respond to this? They are on with 4 laps to go. Sullivan Mounsey's in a new position here. Mason Foster hasn't passed him yet this weekend in the race. Now Mason Foster has the chance to clear off.
He might well have the chance to clear off, but you've been in this position when he's overtaken you before, Johnny, but how would you respond apart from throwing one up his inside?
Yeah, well, maybe, like, you can try and put pressure on Mason, and he might crash, but Mason does stay on quite well, and he gets a nice smooth rhythm until the end of the race.
And what would Sullivan be thinking in this position? It's the first time it's been overtaken all weekend. Would you be feeling angry or just trying to get your head down so you can get even further on?
I'll probably get my head down and try and get him, but Mason is starting to gap Sully a bit. So when Mason gaps Sully a bit, I wouldn't go really push so you can just like chill for a bit and like don't get too much pressure into your tyres. But then, but when you get close to Troy, you can maybe start gassing it a bit.
Well, 1.2 seconds is the gap at the moment between Mason Foster with the fastest lap of a 52.8 as opposed to a 53.5. The last lap was a 54.1 for Sullivan Mounsey. Troy Jeffries remains in 3rd, but Ronnie Harris making progress with Taylor Stewart Campbell in your top 5. 3 laps left to go. The race leaders starting to get later on into this race, and Mason Foster, the very, very brightly coloured bike, making inroads into a race victory once again.
Sullivan Mounsey not able to stay with Mason Foster at the moment. Mason Foster riding exceptionally well. This has still been a fantastic round from Sullivan Mounsey. He scored 70 points last year at this round in the AC40 Rookies. He's done 70 points at the moment. If it stays as it is, he'll do 70 points in the AC40 Pros. He obviously likes Glanny Gauls, and I think most riders do. I think they all love it here. Mason Foster leading Sullivan Mounsey. Troy Jeffrey, we've already spoke about 3rd place. Troy Jeffrey in 3rd, 4th for Ronnie Harris. Taylor Stewart Campbell completing the top 5. Clayton Edmonds in 6th. Luca Hopkins 7th. Ethan Sparks, Orlando Phillips, Harrison McKay the top 10. Ben Jolliffe in 11th. Jamie Woodcock 12th. Alessandro Valente in 13th. Ruben Sherman Boyd 14th. Greg Marshall, Keaton Payne and Jada Howe completing the leaderboard. But at the moment, a clear track ahead of Mason Foster as he looks to take his first win this weekend with a lap to go and a kilometre between it.
1.150 kilometres is all that Mason Foster has to do to win at Glanigors. Johnny Garness, are you a particularly big fan of the Glanigors circuit? You've got a bit of a smile on your face just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's actually my favourite track, and I'm quite gutted that I broke my collarbone and I can't ride here. It's really smooth, and well, it's not that smooth, it's quite bumpy, but I really like the hills when you come downhill and up the hill, and it's really nice.
Well, with half a lap left to go, Mason Foster on course for a victory.
Mason Foster is on course for a victory. Just got to keep it all tidy, and he looks like he's going to. Mason Foster looking like a real championship threat now. Obviously he was anyway, but he's capitalised now on Johnny Garnes' absence. Mason Foster's one corner to go, a little bit of traffic to negotiate, but that is not a problem. Mason Foster finally does it. Sullivan Mounty will come through the final turn. Oh, what a weekend it's been for Sully. He will leave here with a massive haul of points, 70 to be precise. Troy Jeffrey third, big battle for fourth coming though. Who's it going to be? Ronnie Harris gets it, yes, ahead of Taylor Stewart Campbell. Clayton Edmonds is sixth, Luca Hopkins in seventh place. Ethan Sparks, Harrison McKay will be ninth, and Orlando Phillips will complete the top 10. What a thrilling race that was. We've only got two more left on our schedule here at the sixth round of the Coolfab British Mini Bikes Championship. What a thrilling weekend we've had.
A thrilling weekend, still two fantastic races to go, but hopefully, Johnny Garnes, you'll be back out next time out at Wilton Mill. Have you got any words for your colleagues, Mason Foster or Sullivan Mounty, or maybe even a sneaky preview as to what you might be doing next year?
Yeah, I think I'm going to maybe stay with the pros. I'm probably going to do the 50s, but I think Mason Foster will be doing, I think, still the pros, and he's probably doing the liquid cooled. And I think Sullivan Mounty might do the 50s, and I think he might go into the liquid cooled and stay with the pros.
Well, it's been great to hear from you. Thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we have you back out on a bike very, very soon. Johnny Garnes coming to join us in the commentary box for the third race of the weekend for the AC40 Pros. You're listening to live coverage of round 6 of the 2018 Coolfab Racing British Mini Bike Championship, live from Gleneagles. Thank you very much for all of your comments over the weekend so far. Just 2 races, would you believe, to go, including the next one, which will be the Pit Bike 140 and Moto teams. They will be out on circuit in just a few moments' time. And plenty of action still to come, Kiko.
Plenty of action still to come. The Pit Bike 140s and Moto teams, a little bit less of them out there, but that makes our job a lot easier. And it'll be interesting to see who can do the business in this race coming up. Of course, we've got Senior Mini Motos that sign off the weekend as well, so that's going to be really fun to watch. And yeah, that's it for the kids racing. More important, that is, it's all done.
All done for the kids. They will be back out at Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire in 3 weekends' time. If you want to find out how you can get involved with the Coolfab series, head over to coolfabracing.com. You can check out all of the categories that we have in the championship. Maybe you've got son or daughter who'd like to do it. Maybe, I don't know, any kind of kids racing or adults racing. Go over to coolfabracing.com. Check it out.
The original and best British championships for mini bikes. This is Coolfab Racing.
So after all of the action that the kids have provided, the adults, 2 races left to go. The Pit Bike 140s and Moto teams head out onto the circuit with a quick grid with Charlie Nesbitt on pole position, Will Howarth in second place, Jamie King and Richard Holmes Williams. On row 2, row 3, Rossi Banham and Darren Anderson, Simon Clowes, John Buckle, Sean Whittaker and Sam Clowes, your top 10. Jason Pugh and Scott Dutton, row 6, row 7, Andrew Giles and Mark Pollett, Mark Prattley and Josh Cook, John Cook even on the 8th row of the grid. About to get underway, marshals away from the sides of the track. The start line marshals are just waiting for the final people to arrive onto the grid. Looks like we might have 1 or 2 empty grid spaces. No, we don't, so everyone's satisfied that we're ready to go racing, and with the grid marshals working hard as ever, the green flag will be waved in just a second, looking towards patiently for the race start. Green flag goes up then, ready for the race start. A bit of a creep from Richard Holmes-Williams, gets away very quickly indeed. Maybe that'll be looked at, but into the lead, going up the long run from turns 1 and 2 for the first time out of 12. Will Howarth in second place, third place even, as Richard Holmes-Williams still remains there just for the time being. But Charlie Nesbitt getting a good launch into Spoon Corner. Everyone through cleanly, a smaller grid than sometimes we have in the Pit Bike 140 and Moto teams, but still all the action to involve.
We are joined by a special guest. First of all, who are you? What class are you racing in?
My name's Josh Bannister, and I do the Alcy Liquid Cord and the Mini GP 50 class.
Okay, you was in WD-40 colours last year. I know who you are now. You've had a great start to the season in the Mini GP 50 class. You've been riding really well in that. How do you think that's gone so far?
Yeah, it's going well for my rookie year. I haven't done that well this round, but I improved in my last race.
That's what you want to be doing. Do you like the Glanigore circuit, or is it one that you're not too fond of?
I don't really like it.
And why is that then? Just because it's too long, or what's the worst part of the circuit?
It's all of the quick corners, because it's usually wet here, and all of the heavier ones, they can get round it quicker.
It's always wet in Wales. First lesson of life. It always rains over here in Wales. But your race leader in this PB 140 Moto Team race, it is Charlie Nesbitt. Charlie Nesbitt, of course, Moto Star 2016 champion in the British Superbike paddock. He's racing in the Junior World Championship this year. Richard Holmes-Williams is second. Will Howarth is third. Fourth for Rossi Bannon. Fifth, Jamie King. Massive battle for sixth place. Darren Anderson is the first of them all at the moment. Then it is Simon Clowes, and I think it's Sam Clowes in behind that. John Buckle, Jason Pugh, Sean Whittaker, all in there. It's a huge battle down there.
Great battle so far, just 0.2 of a second covering our race leaders. Even that battle further down the order, well, it's covered by just a couple of seconds. That's the sheer volume of bikes that are getting involved. And when you're in that kind of a big battle, what does it feel like to get involved when it's that close together?
It's quite hard because you've got bikes putting pressure all over you, but if you have loads of experience, it's quite easy to cut through them.
Well, that's good. Charlie Nesbitt definitely has got the experience. Richard Holmes-Williams, though, challenging for the race lead, going side by side into turns 2 and 3, being fastest lap on the last lap. Can't quite make it into Spoon, though.
Jamie King sat up there in the middle of the Devil's Elbow, and Simon Clowes had cat-like reactions to avoid him there. So Simon Clowes in fifth place, and number 133, just avoiding Jamie King, who retires out of that fifth place he was in at the moment. Bike broke for him. No such problems with your leaders, though. Charlie Nesbitt ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams as they go through Devil's Elbow. This is going to be head-to-head. Richard Holmes-Williams creamed the opposition in this class yesterday and earlier on today, but Charlie Nesbitt does not want to let it go that way now.
Well, Charlie Nesbitt, one of your compatriots, a bit older than you. Do you look to the Pit Bike 140 and Moto teams as a category you want to get involved in?
Not really.
What sort of stuff do you want to do then?
When I'm old enough, I want to see if I can get into the British Talent Cup.
Okay, well, of course, we've got some of our riders in the Cool Fab Paddocks race in the British Talent Cup. Harvey Claridge, Max Cook as well.
Do you think the British Talent Cup will be good for you? Because it's a really good MotoGP experience as well.
Yeah, it will definitely help me with riding in different conditions and different bikes.
Do you look to someone like Cal Crutchlow in MotoGP? Is he like your hero at the moment?
Yeah.
That's a good hero to have. Cal Crutchlow been around a long time, and just to spoil the result, top Brit and the Austrian Grand Prix earlier on today, but top Brit in this class, obviously Charlie Nesbitt ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams and Will Howarth, who is a distant third. He's got Rossi Bannon for company down there. Simon Clowes has still got that fifth ahead of So ahead of Sam Clowes momentarily. Sam Clowes puts his dad in the weeds at turn number 12. Well, I tell you, that'll be a family fun later on at the dinner table. Sam Clowes then into 5th place, gets ahead of Simon Clowes. Simon takes it back. Well, that's into turn 3. That family feud will run and run, I'm sure. But out front, your leaders, Charlie Nesbitt and Richard Holmes-Williams, coming through the middle of the circuit. Someone has stopped further down, not quite sure who that is, but Charlie Nesbitt, no doubt about your race leader there, and Richard Holmes-Williams in 2nd place.
Very close for the rest of this race. 6 laps to go, 6 laps completed. Nesbitt ahead of Holmes-Williams, just 0.4 of a second. Then you've got to wait an awfully long time for the next person to come through. It's due to be Will Howarth. Rossi Burnham also enjoying a good ride so far. Through the final corner now comes Will Howarth, the gap over the line. As the rain starts to pour once again, the gap is 20.135 seconds.
This is going to be interesting now to see how these guys cope with it. Of course, your race leaders, Charlie Nesbitt and Richard Holmes-Williams, are the first to get to these parts of the circuit. They are the first to encounter these tricky conditions at racing speeds. So, Charlie Nesbitt is ahead at the moment. Richard Holmes-Williams there. Moment for Richard Holmes-Williams. Rear end stepped out and just about held on to it. More Charlie Nesbitt, who's at the front as well. This is going to be a nerve-jangling last.
And someone's gone down at the carousel as well.
We've got a crash at the carousel. I'm not sure. I think that might be Sam Clowes. Down at the carousel. He's back up and going again. So Simon Clowes is now the only Clowes in this race at the front, really. He's 5th. Will Howarth is 3rd. We have got a lot of rain out there now. And Josh Bannister, how hard is it to race in the rain, having got a dry setup on the bike?
It is very hard in wet conditions with dry tyres on.
How would you go about it now? How would you approach this kind of race?
If I was on dry tyres and it started raining, you'd back off and just let the person in front of you go past.
And just stay cool and calm and collected. That's what I do as well. But I'm in the commentary, so I don't have to worry about these kind of things. But Richard Holmes-Williams has got ahead of Charlie Nesbitt. Charlie Nesbitt has took Josh Bannister's advice. Charlie Nesbitt has gone down. No, he hasn't. Charlie Nesbitt has crashed down at the final corner. Rider up and okay. He has gone down at turn 12. It's so slippery out there. No red flag here just yet. Charlie Nesbitt is getting his bike going again. Will Howarth, if he's quick enough, will get round in time. No, he won't. Charlie Nesbitt takes 2nd place back. Will Howarth is 3rd. Simon Clowes is 4th.
Simon Clowes is 4th. Progress still to be made though. Richard Holmes-Williams inherits the race lead and just got to hold on for 3.5 laps. Much easier said than done, especially in the kind of conditions that we're enjoying right now. When it rains all of a sudden, we had this at Red Lodge as well, and that must have been very nerve-wracking for you.
Yeah, especially when we were just about to go on the grid and it started raining, and everyone was panicking with what tyres to put on.
And well, it's certainly not been a good day for predictions, Kiko, but Richard Holmes-Williams leads significantly ahead of Charlie Nesbitt.
And it's significantly heavier now. The rain is absolutely lashing down. As I said earlier, it's a thunderstorm without the thunder, so I suppose it is just a storm. But Richard Holmes-Williams leading at the moment. Charlie Nesbitt is just about 2nd place. 3rd is that is Will Howarth. 4th is Simon Clowes. Now Simon Clowes is well quicker than anyone else on circuit. Simon Clowes looking for the top 3 positions in the full race, not just in his class, but he wants to win his class. He'll have to get past Will Howarth, but he wants to be on the podium as well in the normal race. So Simon Clowes having a fantastic ride. Simon Clowes is all over the back of Charlie Nesbitt as they go down to the carousel. Richard Holmes-Williams is just pulling away so much so at the moment. 2 laps to go. They're going to try, I think, and get this race done and dusted. Lack of adhesion flags all over the place. That is because it is just so wet out there.
There is a definite lack of adhesion out there. The senior mini-motos were in the assembly area, quickly darting back to the paddock to go and grab their wet tyres once again. They'll be worn all the way through by the end of this race meeting, but a lap and a half to go. Richard Holmes-Williams still leading this race. Will Howarth just coming over in 2nd place. 3rd for Charlie Nesbitt. 4th for Sam Clowes. 5th for John Buckle. Very close. One of the quicker riders out there at the moment. Will Howarth though 2nd quickest. Richard Holmes-Williams just relishing these conditions with Well, just over a lap to go through the Devil's Elbow once again.
Simon Clowes all over the back now of Charlie Nesbitt. That is for 4th place, and John Buckle is there in 5th place as well. So we have a race on here. John Buckle looking on the inside of Simon Clowes and gets it done. Tight
Someone
turn
down.
at turn 5. We got a crasher. Yellow flags out at the top of this circuit. Richard Holmes-Williams is still leading this though, just about. It's so precarious out there, just trundling around trying to get any grip you can. Change the position there. That is John Buckle going through. That's John Buckle into 3rd place now. He's got ahead of, yes, he has got ahead of Charlie Nesbitt as well as Simon Clowes. Simon Clowes is closing on Nesbitt. They come to the line. Only a lap to go, really. This race has got very, very tricky now. Downfield, who is it going to be? We know who is going to win this race. It is going to be Richard Holmes-Williams if he can keep it all neat and tidy. He is at the middle portion of this circuit. Another exquisite ride in the wets from Richard Holmes-Williams. He has done the job just right. Last corner to negotiate safely, and he's done it. Richard Holmes-Williams, he is king of the wet. I've got to say, he is doing everything just right. Across the line behind him, we should see Will Howarth in 2nd place, unless he has been caught and passed by John Buckle. We can't quite see through the murk and the mist between us and where they are out on circuit. Will Howarth is just closing on Sam Clowes, who is a lap down. Will Howarth looks to me like he is going to take that 2nd place. John Buckle has not quite got close enough to him.
Oh, and down has gone.
And down has gone. That's Sam Clowes. He's already a lap down anyway. Sam Clowes has gone down. Rider up and okay. John Buckle gets 3rd, and he was happy with that. Charlie Nesbitt comes across the line in 4th. Simon Clowes, we don't know where he's gone. Did Simon Clowes pull in? No, maybe Simon Clowes has gone on somewhere. Maybe he was the yellow flag, but he is well down the order. Richard Holmes-Williams with another fantastic result in the wet.
Fantastic result there for Richard Holmes-Williams. Josh Bannister, who joined us, well, certainly glad you're not in the rain now, aren't you?
Yes.
Very difficult conditions over the course of the weekend at round 6 of the championship for the Clan Eagles round. And as highlights then of this race, it started out moderately dry, everyone getting underway at the first time of asking, quite clean through the first corners, and then the story of the race, the big black cloud above the circuit. It decided to open side-by-side action up and down the field in the Pit Bike 140 and Moto teams. The rain thundering down with aplomb, and then it only got heavier and heavier and heavier. More and more riders struggling right at the end. A few riders having some mishaps, including Charlie Nesbitt. No uncharacteristic mistake nonetheless, though. We will see more action for them at Wilton Mill. Richard Holmes-Williams, though, another victory, and will be more than delighted with that. Over the line, fortunately, the number 31 having just a slight mishap, getting back and underway once again, and not a problem for the rest of the day. They're going to go and dry off for the final time, and then we're about to go racing for the final time at round 6 of the 2018 FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championships for the senior mini motos in just a few moments' time. Still though, plenty of action coming along, plenty of guests in the commentary box all to get through. We'll try and get as many of you on as possible. If anyone wants to come and have a chat, please do pop up to the cafe now, because we're on the last race of the weekend, and one of two, and yeah, so plenty of action still to come from race round number 6 of the championship. And we've got yet another guest. If you just want to very quickly let us know who you are, what you race in, and what you're looking forward to.
My name is Thomas Gomez, and I race in the Mini GP 50s.
You had some very good racing this weekend, Thomas, didn't you?
Yeah.
So tell us a bit more about your race meeting then.
Hasn't been the greatest of meetings, but I got 5th overall, got some championship points, and we'll see at Wilton Mill.
Well, hopefully Wilton Mill will be good for you. Do you think it'll be a bit drier than this?
I hope so.
You're not a fan of the wet weather then?
Not really.
No. Is it not your kind of thing? Is it an area you see yourself maybe needing to improve on, or?
I may need to improve on it.
Yeah, well, racing in Britain, it tends to be a little bit wet.
We are getting a lot of experience at it at the moment, aren't we?
We're used to setting up in the wet as well. It's something that we have to do, but we don't need wet tyres for that. That is a good thing, I'm sure. But senior mini moto time, it's the last race of the day, and on pole position, Will Howarth from Richard Holmes Williams, Ryan Grant in 3rd place, Matt Birkin is 4th, Andy Whedon is not here, he would have been 5th, Simon Huntingford is 6th, Josh Birkin and Chris Yeomans complete the final grid of the day.
Well, final grid of the day perhaps. We've still got more and more guests which will line up in just a few moments, but as we get underway for the final time this weekend, it is the senior mini motos that bookend our action at round 6 of the championship. Richard Holmes Williams looks towards the starting marshal with the green flag. It waves up, it goes down much quicker this time. The 126 gets away cleanly for the first time, side by side. Will Howarth slotting into 2nd, Matt Birkin moving up into 3rd place. Hasn't got his cape on at the did earlier, just a quick poncho, trying to keep himself as dry as possible, but into turns 2 and 3 for the first time, side by side. Will Howarth up the inside. Very good move though for Matt Birkin, and I suppose, Thomas, that's a difficult move to make on the first lap of a race.
Yeah, it is. It looks like he can stay there, but we'll have to see.
Well, plenty of your colleagues, will try and get a few more of them on now if anyone else wants to have a quick chat with us. And so we'll just pass the headset over very quickly. The senior mini moto race though, Kiko, does continue.
It does indeed, and Richard Holmes Williams is putting in a superb performance as always. He is just so good in the wet weather. He is leading at the end of lap 1 then, ahead of, we think it's Matt Birkin, yes it is, and then it's Will Howarth in 3rd place, 4th place Josh Birkin. There, Ryan Grant, it will be somewhere out there, 5th place for Ryan Grant, 6th place for Ryan Grant, 7th place for Ryan Grant. Ryan Grant's gone down. Ryan Grant, I'm commentating, I can't even see what I'm doing. Ryan Grant has gone down then at the last corner. Now that is huge news for your championship. He is in the mix for this championship.
Well, he's in the mix for this championship. Our next guest though, let us know who you are, what's your name and what do you race in?
I'm Samuel Munson and I race in the rookie group and I'm 1st in the championship.
Well, congratulations Samuel, I've had a very good weekend.
Yes.
And it's been very wet this weekend, how have you found it?
Very difficult in practice, but I dealt with it.
And that's, you're very man of little words then, so I suppose you're looking forward to some more racing at Wilton Mill in a couple of weeks.
Yes, I've had lots of practice there as well.
Is it your local circuit then?
Not really.
Where is your local circuit?
My local circuit outdoors would be Kingsham.
Okay, so you're racing in the AC40 rookies so far this season, relatively similar to these bikes out there. How do you think it compares to the adults racing?
I think the adults are more like 14 mils because of their weight.
Okay, and how is that? What sort of difference is that for those who might not quite understand that technical aspect?
So they're riding on fast bikes that some of the LCs ride.
Okay.
And because of their weight, it slows them a bit more down.
Okay, so that should be some good stuff for them. A bit quicker for them. Richard Holmes Williams certainly finding it quick once again. 5.5 seconds over the line last time, did a 55.066, now a 55.1. Matt Birkin taking just a little bit longer to come over the line. Will Howarth closing in for 2nd place though.
I said earlier that Richard Holmes Williams, he need an investigation for being a fish. I don't know about that, but it's more his tyres. They are not a wheel out of line. He must have super glue on them or something because they are sticking to the tarmac, not wobbling around, absolutely inch perfect. Wonderful performance from Richard Holmes Williams. Samuel, you're in the AC40 rookies and you're championship leader. Who's your main championship rival? Because there's a lot of them out there.
It's all a mix between the top 5 and 6. It's mainly Henry McCartney, Ollie Horner and Ruben Bray.
And with you being in the AC40 rookies, it's at the bottom of the ladder up the cool FAB ranks and then on to domestic and world level racing. What made you want to get into motorcycle racing?
I went round, I saw Swindon karting after when I went karting round there, and then I just saw the mini bikes go out and I asked my dad could I buy one.
That's a good plan because bikes are always better than cars, everyone knows that. And but back to the senior mini motos, only 5 laps to go. Richard Holmes Williams with a huge advantage, 9.1 seconds. I honestly do not know how he's doing it. Obviously riding it the exact same as he would in the dry, and it's working wonderfully for him. Richard Holmes Williams is miles ahead of the opposition at this moment in time. Not long left to go. 5 laps, 4.5 laps left of this racing weekend, Dan.
Well, only 5, and to be fair, 4.5 laps of this racing weekend left to go. Do you ever get a sad feeling when it comes to the end of a race meeting? You've done all 3 of your races and it's getting time to go home, or you're always waiting to get to the next race meeting?
I'm kind of a bit cautious because you don't know if you're going to have a really bad next round or really good.
Okay, so what are your predictions for the final 2 race meetings? Do you like Tattershall as a circuit?
Yes, I got 3 out of 3 there.
So you're going to be doing that again later on in the season?
Hopefully, depending on the weather.
And what do you think is going to be close to go to the final race of the season for the championship, or?
Maybe if I get another 6 wins, I'm going to have to be championship leader.
Okay, so, well, that's going to be very good stuff for you. So thank you for joining us, Samuel, and hopefully we'll have you back out at the next race meeting. We've got your... and just want to quickly jump in as well, or just very quickly, just let us know, who are you, what do you race in, what have you done this weekend?
I'm Ollie Sims and I ride in LC40 Rookies.
Okay, so you've been racing with Samuel all season. How have you found racing with him?
Well, it's a bit tricky to stay with him during the practice and qualifying when he comes past me.
Okay, so it's a bit tricky, but it's been very close in the championship so far. Have you been enjoying the racing out there, or has it been too close for you?
Well, it's between me and Archie, it's about...
Not a lot.
No.
Not a lot at all. Well, it's always good to have some fantastic action. Also fantastic action still out on track. The final race of the weekend for the senior mini moto. So Kiko, how is it progressing?
Richard Holmes Williams still leading this one. Dan Matt Birkin is in 2nd place. Will Howarth, great ride for him, steady away in 3rd. 4th for Josh Birkin. Chris Yeomans completing the top 5. Simon Huntingford in 5th. Ryan Grant, an early crasher, down in 7th place at the moment. But Richard Holmes Williams starts his penultimate lap here. It's a rather special one here today for Richard Holmes Williams.
Richard Holmes Williams having a very good day, but he really likes the wet. Are you a fan of the wet, Ollie, or?
Well, I'm pretty good in the wet. I came 3rd last round, so Red Lodge is probably my favourite track in the wet.
Okay, so you're looking forward to Wilton Mill and Tattershall?
Yeah, I've had loads of practice at Wilton Mill. It's a bit slippy in the wet, but I probably won't do it good in the wet if it's raining.
Oh, well, hopefully it's going to do well for yourself. And what are you going to move on to in the next couple of years then? Are you still going to stay in Cool Fab or looking for British Talent Cup when the time comes?
So next year I might be doing pros and elites.
Okay. And you're just staying on the smaller bikes for now?
Yeah.
Hopefully onto the bigger bikes a bit soon.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great to have you join us. It's great to have Richard Holmes Williams in the lead.
Richard Holmes Williams is leading by another postcode. He is well out in front. We're still at 9.6 seconds. It has hardly changed. The last few laps have been relatively stable. In fact, the last lap, Matt Birkin took 4/10 out of him, but he's not going to change the overall result, I'm fairly sure. Richard Holmes Williams, a class act in the wet. He really is a wet weather maestro. I have to start calling him Anthony West. For all of you who follow motorcycle race, Anthony West, obviously a wet weather specialist, as I'm not at saying that word. But we're in the last lap of the weekend, and it is Richard Holmes Williams who is leading this race. He is into Devil's Elbow, not long left now, just a few more corners for him to go. He has been a dominant force here this weekend across more than one class, and whilst it's wet, it's a sweet little mystery how he's able to do it. Richard Holmes Williams with another win. 2nd place, we are expecting Matt Birkin, then it'll be Will Howarth who completes the podium. Matt Birkin comes to the line now, and that is job done for him. 20 points for Matt Birkin. It'll be a 3rd place for Will Howarth, and we've got a faller on the last lap at the final corner. Who is that? Can't quite see who that is. Was it Josh Birkin? It's definitely red leathers. It could well be Josh Birkin. He's managed to get it to the line. Yes, it was Josh Birkin. Comes across the line. Disaster for him. Chris Yeomans will complete the top 5 eventually. But what a race that was. What a wet weather rider Richard Holmes-Williams really is.
Richard Holmes-Williams, a real specialist in the weather. Ollie, are you a fan of wet?
Kind of.
Kind of? Well, that's more than we were expecting, to be honest. You were meant to say, who are they, so we can make him a bit upset, but on this occasion, well, at least you know who they are. It's more than me. Well, it's been great to have you here, Ollie. Hopefully we'll see you back out at Wilton Mill for some more fantastic racing in the AC40 rookies. Well, one person who... Some of these kids, they come up to us, they're a bit shy, they're not sure what to say, but if I might just take your cap off quickly, Sullivan, certainly a man who does know exactly what to say. Sullivan Mounsey, some great racing from you this weekend.
Yeah, it's been quite challenging, but at the same time quite fun.
So, quite fun. Just talk us through then what you've been doing this weekend, what results you've had.
Well, I've had 2 firsts and a second in my pro, and in my LC I've got I got a 5th, a 3rd and a 5th, because I got a 3-second penalty.
How come you got that 3-second penalty then?
Well, I don't think I got a jump start, but the officials were saying I got a jump start, and I overtook 2 people at the start, so they pulled me back by 3 seconds.
Oh, well, that's a shame, but I suppose that's motor racing for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what have you got in your hand here? If you just want to raise it up to the camera and show us what you've got, what is it? Just tell us a bit about it.
Well, it's my pro first overall trophy, which I got at the event centre.
Ah, congratulations. So hopefully picking up a few more of those over the next few weekends.
Yeah, well, Johnny will be on my back the whole time when he's back.
You'll have to get a new trophy cabinet with your dad for that. You'll have to take a detour to IKEA on the way home, I reckon. So it's been a good weekend for you, though. Have you enjoyed Glanigors? Obviously, you had a really good round here last year in the AC40 rookies as well.
Yeah, it's a bit like last year. I got 2 firsts and a second, but this time just on a faster bike.
Oh, well, congratulations to you. You said to us at the start of the weekend, if you didn't hear that, you can go over back to the Cool Fab Racing website or on motorsport.radio, where you can catch up on the interview we had with Sullivan Mounsey and all of the action from round 6. You said to us you liked the wet, you thought it was all right, and you've shown us you're a bit more than all right in the wet.
Well, I didn't think I'd be actually as good as I am in the wet, because me getting on the back of Evan Belford really helped me in the LC, and then going on to the pro bike, it was a lot better.
And also, of course, you've spent a lot of time up here as well. What's it like being up here looking at other riders? Does that help you as well, like a little bit of help and insight from a different point of view?
Well, Casey really helps me, because he's always on the top. He's always good in mini motos and mini GPs. But yeah, when I watch him, I go to different parts of the circuit and look at what their lines are like compared to mine.
Are you looking forward to Wilton Mill, though? You can come and join us in the commentary box there as well. I hope you're not after a job, though. I can't afford not to work this.
Yeah, Wilton Mill's quite a good circuit. That's a place where I beat the lap record by 3 seconds.
Wow.
And I started last and came second. So that's probably my favourite circuit.
You could have done with doing that 3-second lap time earlier on and staying with the place you had, but never mind. It's been a great weekend nonetheless for you. We've got to get wrapped up here. It's been a fantastic weekend of action from all of our special guests and everyone here. We are looking forward very much so to the Wilton Mill round, Northamptonshire round 7 at the end of August, the first weekend of September. We have got lots to talk about. There'll be all of the gossip later on, all of the reviews of the weekend. If you want to look back, of course, you can do. Facebook Motorsport Radio, on Twitter at M-Sports Radio, Cool Fab Racing on Facebook, Cool Fab Racing website. There's so many places you can come and catch us and come and find us out. But from all of us here, the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championship round 6 is done. Glanigors is ticked off. Northamptonshire calls us. We'll see you in a few weeks at Wilton Mill. Ta-ra for now.
It is
Go, go, go!
This This is the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship.